Hello, everybody. Sorry about today. Did everybody read my post this afternoon? I left something on my post. Today was payday, and I couldn't get nothing done until the last 4 hours, so I had to get a lot of things done. My brother-in-law got time. So we got, God, I've only been on 5-6 hours, and I'm already behind on Intel. So we got Tim, Lucy, Fire Eagle. All right. Yeah, Lucy, I don't know what happened with the mail. It should have been here. We'll see what happens in a couple of days. Better get here by Friday. KK, you out there? So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I got to cover tonight. So, hope I can get everything. But we'll have 2 shows tomorrow. Get caught up. Wow, there's no Billy Bean out yet. I'm glad the XQ reports on YouTube. I don't like it when it's on Rumble. Kennedy has a few short clips too. He's making the news. Looks like we got 2 Qs tonight. I'm trying to find a video with the ceremony they gave Trump there in China. I got 1 clip so far. I hope I can find Ooh, there's a big video that we got to hear. I might have to see that one for tomorrow. Okay, Prodigal. That one lady that Ann a long time ago finally goes, remember that older lady? She's back sharing videos again. I don't know why she left. I sent it to Kay last night. I want to see if I can find her video. I'll see what Benny has on Trump. Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to that channel. I lost them. Okay, I'm going to start off with the one I got from Captain Kyle had one. It's only a minute and a half, but better than nothing. That's all I have with that clip on that. So we'll play that one first. Does anybody have a video? Fine Eagle, do you have one? That's all I can find. So hopefully I can find another one. Okay, we'll see what we got lined up here. I couldn't get everything in order. I got busy.
And ProHeal.
The Minnesota House Anti-Fraud and Oversight Committee is asking Congress to issue a subpoena to Representative Ilhan Omar for refusing to hand over records of her office's communications with the ringleader of the nonprofit organization that was implicated in a massive COVID-era fraud scheme. Lawmakers in the GOP-led Minnesota House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Policy Committee suspect that the Congresswoman played a part in the sprawling reimbursement scheme. The nonprofit, Feeding Our Future, stole more than $250 million from a federal child nutrition program. Court documents containing communications between congressional staffers in Omar's office and Feeding Our Future's convicted mastermind, Amy Bach, were entered as government exhibits in the fraud kingpin's federal trial. The contents of the documents were sealed due to ongoing criminal cases. So, the Minnesota House Oversight Committee has repeatedly requested that Omar voluntarily hand over the email and text exchanges herself. Omar missed the committee's deadline last week to turn over the messages on her own accord, and the 8-member committee, composed of 5 Republicans and 3 Democrats, voted to subpoena Omar at an oversight hearing. If the Congresswoman were subpoenaed and refused to comply, Omar could be held in contempt of Congress, a criminal offense punishable by jail time.
Omar, or okay, we got that one, and now let's hear about Spreewell.
From what had happened in 2019, I felt safe because I was established. I had a partner. I felt more secure that I could have a strictly professional relationship with this person. After that bar closed, we went to another. I went to the bathroom, and I don't remember anything after that.
You don't remember anything?
I remember the next day. I can see flashes of that evening, of him on top of me pushing him off, him grabbing me. It was a lot more aggressive. It was aggressive.
Did you say no?
Yes, I said no. In my flash that I can recall, I was pushing him off of me saying no.
And what did he do?
He didn't stop.
Didn't stop. And you woke up the next morning?
I woke up the next morning naked, alone in his hotel room. I, for a moment, didn't even know I was in his hotel room. That's how intoxicated I was. And I called my mom, the only person I could think that could help me.
And we were able to corroborate that by speaking with friends and family she confided in, reviewing photos and screenshots of contemporaneous text messages. And we also reviewed a message from her medical provider the week after she received the pregnancy and STD tests, calling her a, quote, survivor.
It's terrible. Okay, the next one is the Wire Channel.
Everything we do, bringing the best to real Michigan homes with free same-day delivery and smart financing. The most trusted brands in furniture, only at Gardner White.
Short one.
This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, May 13th, 2026. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Unrest continues in Europe regarding migrant crisis. Kuwait allegedly captures Iranian infiltration team on their border. Trump arrives in China for state visit. Beginning with international events, in the Netherlands yesterday afternoon, tensions were elevated in Utrecht following the settlement of migrants in the local area. An asylum center was emplaced at the Old City Hall in Weidemeren against the will of local citizens who turned out in number to protest the arrival of the first migrants. After migrants began taunting locals and making threats toward them through the fence, locals tossed lit road flares into the compound, which set the shrubbery on fire. In the Far East, President Trump arrived in Beijing this morning for the diplomatic state visit with Xi Jinping. The main focus of the trip is expected to be technology and business ventures, as a large collection of tech CEOs and entrepreneurs form a large portion of the presidential delegation. In the Middle East, yesterday, Kuwait claimed to have foiled an infiltration attempt by IRGC forces into their country, allegedly detaining a fire team of 4 Iranian soldiers who were attempting to cross onto Bubiyan Island. Analysts comment. Not many details have been provided regarding this incident. However, for context, this island was used by the United States to launch HIMARS strikes within Iran during the height of the fighting 2 months ago. Analyst comments for this wire. Within the United States, the energy crisis continues to develop. On Monday, the Department of Energy announced emergency efforts to combat the rising cost of fuel. 53 million barrels of oil is to be released from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve over the next few weeks as the Middle East remains at war. Additionally, the White House has floated the idea of a federal gas tax holiday, which would reduce gas prices for customers nationwide by 18 cents per gallon for a regular unleaded and 24 cents for diesel. So far, several states have temporarily halted their own statewide taxes on gasoline, though this has varied by state. More strategically, these measures are unlikely to matter much at all in the long run and are purely band-aid solutions to mitigate a problem without addressing the main concern. Removing taxes, while appreciated by most, cannot conjure up supply when a major trade route is cut off and there is no viable alternative. And right now, the growing problem is availability, as global stockpiles of petroleum, oil, and lubricants begin to be impacted more seriously. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, May 13th, 2026.
Okay. A 4-minute Kennedy, 4-minute.
Always good to have you with us. Thank you for joining me today. You know, you see these headlines like this one in the New York Times. U.S. intelligence shows Iran retains substantial missile capabilities. And we hear, you know, sort of the opposite, really, from the president about the capabilities. Here's a few of his comments, recent comments. Watch.
They are decimated, both militarily and economically.
They have no Navy, totally wiped out. They have no Air Force, totally wiped out. They have no anti-aircraft capability, totally wiped out, no radar. They have a little left they probably built up during this period of time. We'll knock that out in about a day.
So just to add one specific of the New York Times report on this, it says that Iran has restored operational access to 33 of their missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz, which is obviously a strategic site for all of this. So, you know, which side do you believe? What's your assessment of how debilitated they actually are after these weeks of war?
I read the New York Times article. It's all based on anonymous sources. Mm-hmm. I think the New York Times is a Democratic newspaper. The New York Times would support a dead squirrel over a human Republican if the squirrel had a D behind its name. So I discount what they write about this. Number two, I think Chris Wright is right. We have known for a while that Iran has 60% enriched uranium. That means that its uranium has a 60% concentration of an isotope called U-235. It's a small step from 60% to 90%, a matter of weeks, maybe days, and then all they have to do is stick the warhead on the end of a missile and fire it. Could they reach the United States? We're not sure. We're very sure, pretty sure, they can reach Turkey, Paris, Berlin, London. Here's the problem. And here's why the New York Times is wrong. Iran has been a problem since God was a baby. And the problem is that the leadership there is a strain of crazy that can't be fixed. If you give them a bomb, they will use it. I know my colleagues like Senator Schumer says they're not a problem, but frankly, Senator Schumer can't even cook a cheeseburger. On this issue, he's wrong. They're a threat, and that's why the president acted.
So do you think, I got to go in a moment, and I know you do too, but just quickly, if you can, sir, do you think that, you know, getting rid of this regime so that the IRGC is no longer in power in Iran is the only way to really get anywhere in this situation?
No, it's not the only way. President Trump has gutted the country public. It's a private and public sector like a fish. He needs to continue the blockade and just wear them down. He may have to go back in and bomb more, but we're not there yet.
Okay. Senator Kennedy, thank you for your assessment. Good to have you here as always, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I got another one. Then I got 2 Q videos. We're getting the short ones in first. 6 minutes, I think, on this one.
On Senate Resolution 526. And I wanted to spend a few moments explaining what my resolution would do. First, it's a resolution, it's not a bill. This resolution will only affect the United States Senate. It will not affect the United States House of Representatives. Very simply, this is what my resolution would do. When we shut down government, and by that I mean, of course, when Congress, House and Senate refuses to provide funding for an agency in government, in some cases all of government, and those agencies or all of government, as the case may be, have to shut down. That means that federal employees, for the most part, aren't being paid. My resolution would require, or stipulate rather, that senators wouldn't be paid either. It's called shared sacrifice. Now, I want to be clear so my colleagues understand exactly what this resolution would do. Because I've worked hard to get the votes to pass this, and I've had to make a few accommodations. First, a senator would not lose his or her salary. The money would be escrowed. The senator's salary just would not be available to that senator while we're in a shutdown. But once the shutdown is over, you'll get your money. Number two, again, to repeat, this bill will not apply to the House of Representatives. It will only apply to the United States Senate. The House can take care of its own business. Because of the 27th Amendment, and in order for my resolution to be constitutional, the resolution will not take effect until the day after the midterm elections. The 27th Amendment provides pretty clearly that our compensation as members of the Senate and the House, for that matter, though this resolution doesn't apply to the House, can't be changed until after an election. And the Senate's election, of course, is midterms. If I were king for a day, I'm not, I don't aspire to be, but if I were, I'd make this resolution effective immediately because I'm very concerned. I hope I'm wrong. If I am wrong, I'll apologize. I'm very concerned that my Senate colleagues on the Democratic side are going to try to shut down government yet again right before the elections, to try to create chaos to affect the midterm elections. If I'm wrong in that prediction, I will come here and apologize to every senator by name. But so if I could, I would make this resolution apply immediately. Frankly, if I were also king for a day and I wanted to stop government shutdowns, I'd do more than this. I would do two things. I would say that if government shuts down, a senator loses his pay. It's not escrowed, and you get it back later. You just don't get your pay. I would also say that you can't leave Washington. You can't go home. If you make people forfeit their pay and tell them they can't leave Washington, we won't have any more shutdowns. And everybody in this body knows that. But I can't pass that. I would if I could, but I can't. So to repeat one more time,
he's
all
correct,
my resolution
like always, right, you guys?
Would say that if we choose to shut down government, you're not going to be paid. You'll get your money later. But while we're in a shutdown, you're not going to be paid. It's about shared sacrifice, Mr. President. I mean, what we have done this year in terms of keeping government open. Last October, I looked it up before I came to the floor. Last October, we shut down government 43 days. It's the longest shutdown in history. And we had FBI agents and National Park Rangers and CDC scientists. Our staff here in Congress, nobody was getting paid. And then 3 months later, after we finally got out of that 43-day shutdown, we shut down the Department of Homeland Security. It was shut down for 76 days. And this is all in 1 year. We ought to hide our heads in a bag. It's got to stop. Shutting down government, it should not be our default solution to our refusal to work out our issues and our differences. So that's what my Senate resolution will do. Vote how you want to. I'm not saying this is going to stop all.
Okay. I want to play this one. We'll get Q first. We got 2 finally with him.
No matter how many tolls this tire hits on the road of life, Bell Tire will always be there.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. So you guys have been asking for it, and we're finally starting to see it. Are you happy? We had another billionaire arrested yesterday in California. So this billionaire specifically is tied directly to Eric Swalwell. So Stephen Kluback is his name. He made his money in timeshares and real estate. And the guy sounds like a real slime ball. And I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, he called Eric Swalwell like his brother. So the guy had a $27 million home that he essentially gave Eric Swalwell to use, and just said, hey, here, you have it. Use it as much as you want. I don't live there, but just enjoy in Beverly Hills. Now, the interesting part about that is if it was just a regular friendship or a regular guy, I really wouldn't have an issue with it. The problem that I have is Eric Swalwell is a complete slimeball, and we all know that now. But Eric Swalwell was a representative for the good people of California. My question is when you start to see these politicians, I don't care if it's right or it's left, when you start to see them voting against the will of their constituents, it immediately should raise the question, who are you working for? And when you have billionaires that are giving you millions of dollars to your campaign, and you also have billionaires that are giving you multi-million-dollar places to live rent-free, you have to wonder, who are you really loyal to? Do you feel that the billionaire's interest and the interest of the common man are the same? I would say 99% of the time, no, they are not. They're not inflicted with the same day-to-day concerns that we are. Now, I'm not saying that there should be class warfare. I'm not advocating for that. What I am advocating for is getting back to the place where the politicians rely on the votes of the everyday person, that you disallow multi-billionaires from our billionaires in general, or even millionaires, from giving these large donations. Limit the amount of donations, whether it be to a super PAC or whether it be to the politician in general, and make it so where they're not incentivized to work solely for the ultra wealthy that are able to afford to keep them on their payroll, so that they work for the common man. So anyway, getting back to this story, this Mr. Kluback, now he decided he wanted all of his money back from Eric Swalwell after all these allegations came out for his improprieties. But he also was arrested because he was caught trying to tamper with a witness who's also a victim, trying to dissuade them, bribe them, whatever it might be, from actually testifying against him and against Eric Swalwell. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, this is criminal behavior. And I'm excited to see this guy who has a lot of money, but the law is the law. You can't go around trying to coerce people or threaten people to not testify in court. If I did that, we would get the same treatment. We would go to prison for it. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm excited. We're starting to finally see some justice. We're starting to finally see some equal justice under the law. Comment below. I'll see.
Okay, the second one I got. The next two will be two Benny ones.
Administration is turning up the volume, they're turning the screws up. They are squeezing Fauci for all that he has. They have turned some of his closest confidants, turning them state witness. They are getting to the bottom of this, and they are moving quickly. For whatever you might think about Rand Paul he's definitely got his sights set on Fauci, and he wants Fauci to pay for what he has done to the United States with COVID. But then today, a story that was very near and dear to my heart that I was called crazy for was the biolabs in over 30 countries. We have over 120 biolabs that our country, we the taxpayers, have been paying for. We know that Dr. Fauci not only had a part in funding these biolabs, including Wuhan, but he also was funding and taking payment for vaccines that were being developed to treat said viruses after they used gain of function research to make them more infectious. And so now Tulsi Gabbard has launched a full investigation into these biolabs. Like I said, over 30 countries, 120 biolabs, the vast majority being in, you guessed it, the Ukraine. Now, we initially started talking about this after Victoria Nuland went before a congressional committee and admitted during the Biden administration that there were biolabs on the Russian border. The Russians then said immediately after the war began in front of the UN Council that they were concerned and wanted these biolabs removed from their border, especially being on the heels of COVID. And so now Tulsi Gabbard, along with Donald Trump, are saying, look, if we're funding these biolabs, we need to know what's going on. We've had no oversight on these biolabs, and Trump is saying enough is enough. We're not going to continue funding these things, and we need to know what they're doing and probably shut many of them down. But the idea that now Tulsi Gabbard is saying we've had no oversight, in fact, we don't even know where all of these sites are, and now the investigation has begun. I can't think of anything more frightening or disturbing that we're funding research to make viruses 10,000 times more infectious, and we don't know where these things all are scattered throughout the world. And so I'm so thankful that we have people who are bird dogging this, especially Tulsi Gabbard, for whatever you might think of her, that she has made it extremely clear that that they are going to investigate this, and they are going after, and they're going to shut down many of these sites. Donald Trump saw what Fauci did to him, saw that Fauci basically played him and was playing both sides of the fence. And I think Donald Trump has a very disfavorable view
of people that basically ran his name through the mud and cost him a lot of political clout. And so I'm so excited to see that they're actually giving this the attention that it deserves, because if we learned anything from COVID, we need to have more control over what's going on in these biolabs. And I'm thankful that they're finally given the attention that they deserve. But this is one more sign that Fauci's days are numbered, and he will see justice for what he's done, not only to this country, but many others. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys as excited as I am? I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed.
Okay, we got QQ, and now the next two will be Benny. Anybody see the one with Marco Rubio yesterday?
Took off, departing for Beijing, carrying half of the president's cabinet, including the Secretary of War, Secretary of State, and Elon Musk. He's kind of a member of the cabinet. You know, we can just manifest that all over again. They're off for a 14-hour flight to China. Trump's schedule is jam-packed. It's going to be really exciting to watch, and you can watch it actually right now. You can see the live tracker of where is Air Force One at this very second. It's over Ontario. It's about to cross over Manitoba on its way to China. Let's see here. It's going to be a wild flight. It's going to be very interesting. Again, they'll land by the time we're up tomorrow in the morning, and I'm sure there'll be quite a bit of news. Quite a bit of newsmakers are on the flight. You can see here Eric and Laura Trump. They were waiting in the wings along with Marco Rubio. All business. Marco in his Marco Rubio suit. New polling showing that Marco Rubio is the front runner to run for president of the United States and to win in 2028. Do you believe that? What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comment section. Air Force One is airborne from Andrews Air Force Base, and the nuclear football is coming along for the ride. You can see President Trump always traveling with his nukes straight to China. Going to be a very fun trip. And we predicted that there was going to be some memes on this trip, and there certainly have already been memes. Here's Trump flying over Iran on his way to China.
Okay, we have it in our sight. Fire, boom.
I just pray that that's what it looks like inside of Air Force One. I've never flown on Air Force One. So I just hope, please tell me that's what it looks like inside of Air Force One. That'd be great. The world, however, was gifted with an unbelievable meme come true. And I wasn't planning on this already. Sorry, I mean, I'm recording this at nearly 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I have just been stunned that a meme came to life already. I mean, they're only a couple hours into the trip. I mean, they haven't even left Canadian airspace, and the memes are already flowing. You may recall the Marco Rubio sitting on the couch meme, pissed off that he has a new job. His job is to be Nicolas Maduro in his Nike Air Max tracksuit, right? Nicolas Maduro aboard the USS Iwo Jima. We all remember this. Iconic. That tracksuit is iconic. I think American Special Forces put him in that. I'm not sure he was wearing that. Pretty cool stun of shades. Anyway, people were already making this meme of Marco Rubio saying it's funny to put him in the tracksuit. Well, guess what? This ain't AI. This is the real Marco Rubio wearing his tracksuit aboard Air Force. His Maduro tracksuit. Good for you, bro. Let's check the caption here from White House Comms Director Stephen Chung. Rubio rocking the Nike Tech Venezuela on Air Force One. It is a message to the world. This is on its way to doing 1 million views, 1.6 thousand reposts, 13,000 likes, 800 comments on this is a message to China. As we've been saying, the entire position of the United States trip to China and everything that's been done in Iran and everything that's been done in Ukraine has been to show China who's actually boss of the world. And that's what President Trump is doing. Trump's not going to be pushed around by China any longer. And the memes are hitting. The reason why Marco was wearing this is they want to remind you that they black bagged Maduro in the dark of night, threw him like a bag of grain into a Navy SEAL Delta Force helicopter, melted down all of the Chinese tech and weapons. By the way, there was a delegation from Beijing there watching it all happen. And so this is something that is a message to the rest of the world. The memes are unbelievable. Check this out. This from the White House, full circle.
No, now you know. And now if you don't know, now you know.
From home updates to major repairs, Bauer, heavy duty guaranteed.
Watch what magnesium does to your bowels.
I forgot. Hi, Mom. Lucy's mom.
You have to wipe more than 4 times after you poop. Here's why. When hardened poop gets stuck.
And
now if you don't know, now you know.
Don't know. Now you know.
And now if you don't.
This is the White House posted this, by the way. It's done hundreds of thousands of views. The memes are pouring out across the internet. Here's the entire team on Flex. Again, Elon Musk there, JD Vance. The strength, though, of the Rubio meme content has surprised me, I got to tell you. Senator Marco Rubio wearing the Maduro outfit on Air Force One. Who even knew we needed this? Plus the baby version of it. We'll take it. Wait till you see this, man. This is just crazy. Donald Trump in the vault.
Are gone. Their leaders are gone. 2 sets of their leaders are gone. They're down to their 3rd set. Their air force is wiped out entirely. Think of it. They have 32 ships. All 32 are at the bottom of the ocean. Other than that, they're doing very well, Coach.
The longer you look, the better it gets. Havana, Cuba. You know this is about to go down. You know it's about to go down. Oh man. Okay, let's go. Let's do some memes here. All right, here we go. Just a reminder that Marco Rubio is currently leading the presidential 2028 presidential primaries. Donald Trump is saying that we're going to take Venezuela over and just make it the 51st state. Okay. Is Marco going to be DJing for the flight? Oh, that totally works.
I did today.
Great.
Sorry, Kay.
Here we go. Close enough. You're officially an operator now, Marco Rubio. There you go. Got them all kitted out. There you go. Marco Rubio. And he's been chilling all day with his burrito. Marco Rubio. That's pretty good. I didn't know Marco Rubio would be so memeable. King. And Maduro maxing. The aesthetic. If you're going to do it, you got to go all the way. The aesthetic is here. Yeah, that's right. Miami Marco. You know, Rubio's wearing the Maduro tracksuit on his flight to Cuba. Ooh. Just a reminder that they really did have good game with it.
Aquí lo esperan, Miraflores. No se tarde en llegar, cobarde.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America.
Trump posted this, by the way.
Start your
Lit them up, baby.
Oh, you're okay. I was wondering if you were okay.
I missed the old Maduro memes. Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro bunker defense against the
This is a good one here from Mitty tonight.
We send all of our Somalis to Venezuela. Well, then we definitely can't make it the 51st state. Okay. No games. No games. FAFO. Come on. Bring back this energy, baby. Bring it back. Run it back. We're here for it. Run it back. Who wants to see this next? The whole thing is a message to Xi Jinping. None of this is by accident. He didn't just come walking out wearing this. None of this is by accident. Again, this is a real photo. This is not AI. None of this is an accident. This is a message that we are in control. And that Marco Rubio, who President Trump actually just said would make a dream team, would be an absolute dream team. Donald Trump was saying that him and J.D. Vance would be.
So we got a lot of beauties out there, JD.
The greatest presidential team maybe ever. What do you think about that? It was Trump, the White House.
We got a lot of beauties out there, JD. I envy you and other people. I don't know who's it going to be. Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have? Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD, that was a perfect ticket.
It's a perfect ticket because the meme energy with both of them is insanely strong. Although I got to tell you, edge on Marco for this one, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a wild 2028. It's going to be a wild trip. Stay tuned in to this channel. We won't miss a beat. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.
Okay, the second Benny, and then I got some short ones, and then we'll get going on the 15-minute ones. Or 10-minute ones, whatever I got. Oh, but if you guys remember this one, let's play this 4-minute.
Hillary Clinton. Political advisors worried pay-to-play allegations could overshadow the beginning of her White House bid. And while he downplayed all of this on Sunday, Book wrote a February 2015 email marked Foundation Vulnerability Points, which listed out 2 pages of problems that could hamper the campaign, including donations from foreign governments like Morocco, private jets, and pricey hotels.
These are stolen documents.
And then there's a new email dragging President Obama deeper into the controversy over Clinton's private email account and server.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
At the same time,
final.
Everybody else learned it through news reports.
That comment triggered immediate alarm from Clinton's top advisors. Cheryl Mills writing, "We need to clean this up. He has emails from her. They do not say state.gov."
I think this is a new
White
one.
House spokesman Josh Earnest tonight is stressing the president never said he did not trade emails with Clinton. He just didn't know the details about her server.
President Obama has a highly secured BlackBerry that he uses to get emails, and it has 2 functions. One is to mask his physical location when he's using it, and the second is to make sure every email, every text message, every phone call has been vetted and pre-approved for him to receive. It's called whitelisting. So if you or I had the president's email, if we sent him a message, it would be blocked and it would bounce back. So the question is, did he receive the Clinton emails on the BlackBerry? And if so, when did his team direct the White House Communications Office to accept that email and whitelist it? Because it's a very deliberate act. It doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah, you got to get cleared in, right?
Correct.
Just like you got to get cleared into the White House, you got to get it cleared into the president's email list. Now, we know that he did exchange emails with her when she was writing from emails from her private server.
Correct.
Now, the question, I guess, is whether he received those emails on a computer somewhere, or whether he computed on his little BlackBerry, which requires the extra step of getting it cleared, right?
That's right. The key thing here is whether his staff asked for her address to be added to that BlackBerry before March of 2015. That's when he said, I first learned about the server from news reports. That's when the New York Times reported the story. But everything that we see suggests that he was receiving emails from her on the BlackBerry prior to that period.
Right, and we know, of course, that those emails from her did not say Hillary Clinton at state.gov,
right?
Which
exactly.
would have been the normal internal system.
That's right.
So it's also understandable to me, however, that if she was in his address book, she would have been there under the name. And if I send you an email on the Fox system, I look up your name, and I don't know the particulars of the address. I just know that it goes to you. If I looked at it, I could find it, but You might not notice that.
That's right. But someone, I was told, either the chief of staff or deputy chief of staff would have to take a directive from the president to add an address. And if you just look at that simple address, even if you're not an IT wizard, you see that it's not a government address.
It ain't state.gov, right?
That's right. You see clintonemail.com, and that tells you that there is a registered domain for that address, and it was being used for government business.
So either a staffer or the president himself must have done
this. It would likely be the chief of staff.
If he received them on his BlackBerry, and we don't know that, correct?
Everything suggests that these emails were received on the BlackBerry.
It would make sense.
Because they had so many in-person meetings, it wasn't a situation where emails were being received routinely on a desktop computer in the Oval Office.
Right. And what about using those at that particular time? I guess the BlackBerry was the thing, especially for Mr. Obama, who'd gotten accustomed to using one before he took office.
That's correct. And she wanted, remember, in the emails we saw released by the State Department, Cheryl Mills, her principal chief of staff at the State Department, wanted to see whether Hillary Clinton could also get one of these sort of Brinks truck type BlackBerries like what the president had so that she could communicate. But again, it goes back to when she was whitelisted. When did that email get approved to be received?
And it takes us to the age-old question. What did the president know and when did he know it?
I guess that was a troll. Good eye. Good catch there, Kay. Okay, back to the second Penny video. Still don't convene yet.
We come back. We push forward.
I worked and lived in DC for 15 years, and let me tell you the biggest takeaway that everyone is functionally retarded. They're so stupid in that city. It is a city not made up of smart people. It is made up of the dumbest people. There are some really smart people in San Francisco. There are some really smart people in Silicon Valley. There's some smart people in Manhattan, certainly smart people in Florida and Miami, building things, making and creating things. There's no smart people in DC. DC is where failures goes. It's like Hollywood for ugly people. A lot of people say that, but it's really Hollywood for ugly and dumb people. I think that actually Selena Gomez and Rachel Ziegler are smarter than your average Hill staffer. It's creepy, it's craven, it's gluttonous, and it's filled with people that just have this inflated sense of how powerful they are. And that's where they go. They're attracted to DC like flies to Shisa because they want the power. They're the rejects in high school. They're people who didn't ever have power in any other time in their life, so they think that by slithering their way through a bureaucracy, they can get it. And then they'll betray everyone on their way because they have no moral compunction, that they aren't there for anything other than the bloodlust of power. So as soon as they get power, they'll try and betray the people who gave it to them. It's really sick. And it's happening right now. Live, James O'Keefe has caught, once again, a White House staffer in a sting trashing Trump. This is really bad. White House employee placed on leave after O'Keefe Media Group busts him, saying we have to get rid of Trump. Oh, wow. So Benjamin Elliston is someone who worked in the executive office of the president. And this is, by the way, a very important position. He is the senior budget analyst and fund manager in the executive office of the president. That's a real big boy job and something that is very serious. And he says, we got to get rid of Trump. Seriously, he's a mess. He's effing it up for everybody. We've got to get rid of him. Very bad. Let's go ahead and watch the tape because James O'Keefe did exactly what he always does. Just sets up on a Tinder date, some chick who's like a 5 or a 6. And in DC, that's like a 9 or a 10. And then goes out with these absolute and total chodes who decide to spill their guts and become traitors on camera. Here's the opening of the date where he announces who he is and then criticizes Trump.
I brought you something.
You brought me something? No way. Oh my God. That's great.
It's for real, right?
It's for real.
Benjamin Elliston is a senior budget analyst and funding manager
for the White House. He has been in this role since 2024, which involves overseeing and approving budget funding for various proposals at the White House.
I can't believe this is real.
Really?
I have to touch it.
Yeah.
I have to touch it.
You got it, Michael.
I want to tell you why. Because there is so many fake people online.
I know.
Oh my God, there's so many fake profiles.
It's sad.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so refreshing.
Yeah. So what's your job title again?
Budget analyst and funds analyst.
And you're at the what office again?
Executive office of the president.
Wow. Okay.
I like it. I like the prestige.
The senior budget official oversees funding and budget management for projects such as the White House ballroom renovation, and goes on to divulge that the funding for the ballroom has been exclusively coming from private donors, which Elliston deems to be problematic and a possible source of corruption.
All that renovation, we oversees all of that stuff.
Oh, really? Do you know how much money that costs?
I think it's something like $400 million. And he's doing more than what he told us initially. Like before it was just a ballroom, but
Yeah, that's what I saw. And it's
secret
like everything.
basement for military
Oh my God, really?
operations and stuff. So he claims it's been done. It's been built, been sponsored by all private donations. No one knows where the money's coming from. So and people are just opening up their wallet. Just
You guys don't even know where the money comes from? That's like kind of concerning.
it's more than concerning. Like me as a government employee, most I can accept as a gift. Any government employee, it's $25. So you just accept, and he's a government employee too, so it doesn't really matter.
You gotta have the best to be the best.
You guys, after years of marriage, this right here is absolute magic. Blue Chew Gold is the only treatment combining 4 powerful ingredients that target both arousal and the body. Highly recommend this, you guys. And it's delivered right to your door, super discreet. Check it out, you guys.
Elliston then went on to say that Donald Trump has to be gotten rid of, that he's effing everything up. That Trump's sober and he's crazy, and that he's practicing subversion of his commander-in-chief. Totally evil. There you go.
We have to get rid of Trump. Seriously, he's a mess. He's fucking it up for everybody. Everybody. We gotta get rid of him. Honestly. With him on top, it's next to impossible to do anything. He's a madman. Literally. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him. And that's dangerous. The way his decisions are so erratic, you would think he drinks. He doesn't drink. And that's what makes it so dangerous, that someone could be of sound mind and body, totally coherent, could just be so reckless in their decision making.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Wow.
As Benjamin proceeds to reiterate over and over that Trump should never be president, saying ominous things like, "This is where it stops," the undercover journalist asked Benjamin whether his co-workers at the White House are aware that he holds so much hatred towards the president. And he replies, no, they can't know.
For some reason, they feel like America was getting too diverse. He's being under attack and being suppressed and threatened to be a minority. So all these programmers doing that, so they want to stop him. Never be president.
That is insane.
For me, it's that simple.
That's insane.
That's where it stops.
Yeah.
So never.
No. Do people know that how you feel about the president? No.
The reason for this publication is to show you the level of disdain that many in the White House currently hold against their commander-in-chief. And if what Trump's own advisor, Maxim Lott, says is true, that Trump's subordinates often have the power to make decisions for him,
In theory, everything should sort of come from the president.
Yeah.
But it might come from the level below him, where they're like, I think I know the president well enough to say what he would say on this.
Then we find it highly concerning that people like Benjamin should be in such a position to make decisions on behalf of the Trump administration while holding such a hostile perspective towards those that he is supposed to be serving. It begs the question, how secure are the Trump administration's goals when such high-level officials are actively motivated against Trump's agenda?
Hello. Hey, is this Benji?
Speaking.
I'd like to get your comment. You said, quote, "We've got to get rid of Trump." What are you planning on doing to get rid of the president? That's your quote.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
We have to get rid of Trump. Seriously.
You said, quote, "We've got to get rid of Trump. He's dangerous. That's where it stops." What did you mean by that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We also reached out to Maxim Lott. He said, quote, "I went out with an individual I thought was a genuine person, but it goes to show how insidious politics in the city can be. Nothing I said was contradictory of this administration. I remain fully committed in helping carry out its agenda."
That's not good. We have to get rid of him. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him. That's very dangerous. He needs to be fired immediately. Subversion. Somebody's getting fired. Are they getting fired? I sure hope so. Let's go ahead and see. White House responds to O'Keefe report for Elliston. The individual has been placed on administrative leave while a conduct review and investigation. He has no direct access to the president or senior staff, does not work on the White House campus. Such views expressed by the individual are not reflective of the patriots who admirably served in the administration. Yikes. Ladies and gentlemen. They also were able to get another White House confession. Goodness gracious. President Trump's special assistant in the White House Domestic Policy Council advisors makes decisions based on what he feels is a good idea. There's no cost benefit. Reveals White House independently shaped domestic policy based on their own interpretation of what Trump would want as executive office. A budget manager spills, "We have to get rid of Trump." Ugh. What a bunch of cretins. The archetypical DC nihilist and narcissist who believes in nothing but themselves, who will hate the people who won the election, will act to subvert the power inside of the actual offices in which they serve. There is no loyalty. President Trump is right. And these people are scum. And we're thankful for James O'Keefe for exposing them. We hope not only do they get fired, we hope that they do a full criminal investigation, because if they're willing to say this kind of stuff on the record, what are they willing to do in their actual work, right? Yeah. Bad news. Thank you, James. And please, let's do harsher background checks and vetting requirement. Vetting sucks, I know, but like there's a lot of Americans that would love to work for President Trump and love this administration. Got to make sure these people don't get past the finish line, right? If you love what the administration is doing, you support the president. If you want to work in the White House, give this channel a like and a subscribe. It's your boy Benny. We'll keep fighting.
Hey, we got 2 Bennies now. I got 5 short ones, then I got 3 short 10-minute ones with Trisha. Trisha has 3. Still no Billy Bean yet. Our one lady, new lady on TikTok.
Unanimous ruling. It was 5-0. I'm getting a lot of messages about this saying, "Oh, it's only been overturned because of his power and his money." And here's the thing. I 100% think his power and his money are what actually kept his son from, in my opinion, being fully prosecuted for the murder of Mallory Beach, as well as for Murdaugh being not prosecuted in a more timely manner for some of his financial crimes. But this actually doesn't have to do with that. So I just want to remind folks, on December 18th of 2025, Becky Hill actually was convicted and sentenced to 100 years of community service. I want to explain what she was convicted of. I'm just going to read it. Obstruction of justice, perjury, and misconduct while in office. So she is the county clerk who was assigned to this case. She helped with the jury, she helped with the exhibits, and she helped with evidence. And essentially what happened is she was found guilty of providing sealed exhibits to journalists to essentially photograph and publish, as well as have inappropriate conversations with jurors, and accepted $12,000 in bonuses, and is alleged to have really wanted a guilty verdict to further a book that she wanted to write on the case. She's been convicted of this. When I saw that conviction in December, I thought this verdict is going to be overturned. I covered this case a lot for Law and Crime Network as well as on here. And yeah, I do think that there were some holes in the prosecution as well as in the defense, but I firmly believe that he did it. I don't, there's really not a question in my mind, but I do sadly agree with a new trial being granted. And this is what happens when there is misconduct. This is why we need to not be engaging in this behavior, employees and jurors, because verdicts get overturned, and then ultimately it's the victims, the people that are still part of the family that, you know, are hurt by this, because they now have to sit through another trial, which is absolutely horrific. It's essentially re-victimizing them. So listen, I'm not absolving Murdaugh of any of his crimes, absolutely not. However, I think we need to understand that it is the conduct of Becky Hill who ultimately got this overturned. And sadly, whether I agree or disagree, the defense did have a case in terms of asking it to be done.
Good intel.
All right, so the raw verdict has been.
We got one more with her, then we got 3 Trish videos. Oh, and we got DJ tonight, short ones also, Fine Eagle. Shoot. Thought I had. Well, we'll play her. I can't find the other one.
Website that somebody put up on my X account that is a British military website that literally is called Crisis Cast. I'm not even kidding. Now they're presenting it as if this is training purposes for like the military, but then you start looking deeper into this website and you start seeing certain pictures that they have that I won't show, that you guys can go and look at because I'm going to get banned. And it looks exactly like the images that have come out of Ukraine, Palestine, and any other war-ridden country. And now I'm wondering, are these the guys that are making these movies? Because it's really interesting with who they work for. Let me just show you the website. Welcome to Crisis Cast, award-winning filmmakers, virtual reality producers, and real play actors, specially trained in disaster and crisis management. Now, if you're like, oh, well, that just could be training for the military and the police, wait for it. Because they do work with the Ministry of Defense, National Counterterrorism Security Office, the police, and a bunch of other places. And it says we act for a wide range of clients, from private individuals to multinational organizations and everything in between. And don't worry, they even provide solutions. Our role play actors are psychologically trained in criminal and victim behavior. They bring intense realism to simulated mass casualty incidences on the battlefield during kidnapping and ransom and emergency evacuation solutions, and in hostile threat incidents in urban or public places. Weird. But don't worry, they actually do a lot of things like virtual reality solutions. Oh, look at that. Media crisis management. Aviation, casualty sim, and resilience. Now, if you go to their website and go to casualty simulation, I can't really show any of the graphic material because it's going to get taken down. But if you look at this, it is so realistic. It's unbelievable. And it actually looks like some of the images that we have been shown in certain like war zones. So it says, Crisis Cast adds intense realism to casualty simulation, training for both military and civilian needs. We provide professionally trained amputee actors and film-grade makeup specialists. Crisis Cast amputee actors have many years of experience in hyper-real, immersive training for key learning outputs and are regularly featured in film and television production. Don't worry, they can supply the cast, they can supply the film, they can even supply the prosthetics. Now, if you take this as a military kind of like training thing, that means that those images can be used by certain corporations, because they even said that they will work with individuals. So if you have a billionaire who wants to lock things down, like, I don't know, let's say Big Pharma, they can use their images and their data and all of that stuff to see how we would behave in certain things. And that's where they get them from. Now, what's really interesting is if you actually know about the City of London and how it's separate from England, and then if you know about the Vatican and the bank being, you know, kind of connected, and the fact that JP Morgan doesn't even want to work with the Bank of England because they're so corrupt. Yeah, JP JP Morgan, the dudes who worked with Jeffrey Epstein, and then you look into Switzerland, all of this would make sense. If you don't believe that crisis actors are real, let me just show you a website that somebody put up on my X account.
Couple more short ones and we'll get to Trisha. Let's see, what do I got here? I don't think we played this one, did we? It says today's date on it. He does a good job with her intel.
Ezekiel 128. All around him was a glowing halo, like a rainbow shining in the clouds on a rainy day. This is what the glory of the Lord looked like to me. When I saw it, I fell face down on the ground and I heard someone's voice speaking to me. Revelation 4, this is John speaking. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, "Come up here and I will show you what must take place after this." And at once I was in the Spirit. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God. And the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together, harpazo, raptured with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage one another with these words. We know that the rainbow has been perverted by the world to now represent sin, wickedness, and rebellion. But the rainbow is a sign from God. It is a sign from God to represent the covenant that he made between him and all creation. These last few seconds on this earth before the Lord takes us home, before the Lord calls us home with the trumpet call of God, with the voice of God, it is these small reminders, these small glimpses into the beauty, the splendor, and the glory that we will soon experience. At once I was in the Spirit, in the twinkling of an eye, and there before me was a throne in heaven with someone sitting on it, and the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby. A rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne. Surrounding the throne were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. The 24 elders are the Holy Spirit-filled church, the believing church that were removed from this earth. We were harpazo, we were raptured before the 7-year tribulation, before the wrath of God is poured out on this unbelieving, unrepentant, sinful, wicked world. Y'all, we are the final generation. We are that generation. Not only are we that generation, we are in the last few seconds of that generation. Nothing else matters but Jesus. Absolutely nothing else matters but sharing the good news, sharing the one true gospel that Jesus Christ, who is God in the flesh, came and died as payment for our sins. He died. He shed his blood for the forgiveness of our sins.
Okay, another important one there. Couple more short ones. She finally got off that other that she listens to.
Police department versus mayor drama that went down last week. And if you saw my video, you know, Cohutta is this very small town in Georgia. And the mayor got pissed at the police officers because they were posting things online about his wife. And his idea of the best way to handle it was to completely dissolve the whole police department, fired every one of them. All, you ready? 10 officers. They had a meeting Friday to talk about what to do with the mayor. To start it off, their Bluetooth speaker was not working, so nobody in the audience could hear it. It was a large audience. It was standing room only. Then the mayor decides he's going to make an escape. He turns the lights off But as he's trying to sneak out, the emergency power kicked on. So, not to mention it was broad daylight at the time, too. Then the mayor came back for a few minutes and then decided there was something he needed to get done. While he hightailed it out there, never came back. Well, last night they had another meeting, a community meeting set up. And it was like their regular monthly meeting. The mayor and his second in charge, neither one of them showed up to the meeting. So they didn't do a vote, but the council is seriously considering firing the mayor. But these small town politics, they are, oh my goodness, that's a gold mine. They're hilarious. Yeah, I have more on the Cohutta Police Department versus mayor.
Yeah, let's get the next three Trish videos.
When I wake up in last place, I need the power of Old Spice.
The DOJ has confirmed that they are looking into concerns that there's a lot of leaking going on at the White House and that there was a lot leading up to this excursion, as he likes to call it, with Iran. And some key names are being talked about at this hour and may, in fact, receive subpoenas. We shall see. Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Trish Regan. This is the Trish Regan Show. Yes, a number of people right now are being talked about as having either leaked information or perhaps having received leaked information. We have gotten word from the Wall Street Journal that a number of their reporters have been subpoenaed by the DOJ, and we have heard that there are a few people they might be looking at. Here's the big story. It crossed in the Daily Mail today, and it said Trump's chilling treason note revealed as he hunts down Iran war leakers, and Israel bombshell sparks fury. So there were some stories out in the media circulating suggesting that Israel had a very heavy hand in the decision for us to strike Iran, and apparently the president didn't really appreciate that. There were some other stories out there circulating as this sort of went to or came to fruition that suggested the president was really tired with Iran, et cetera. And you may have heard from some reporters out there, podcasters, in fact, that really seem to be siding with, let's just say, not us. Okay. And so I saw this story cross this morning. I thought, I may just have a few ideas for y'all. You might want to take a good hard look at the vice president's office. That would be JD Vance. Now, we love JD, but he did have some people in there that were close to other reporters, including, I believe, Tucker Carlson's son. So you talk to your dad, right? You can see how something like that might happen. It might have been perfectly innocent, but hey, you know what? If you're an M&A banker at Goldman Sachs and you decide to talk to your dad and your dad, say, trades on the news, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Even if he doesn't trade on the news, like the deal is you can't talk. So I'm sure if you're working in the vice president's office, the rules are kind of the same. You can't talk. So that's one problem. And then you had Joey Kent over there working for Tulsi Gabbard at the DNI. That's another problem. And, these things add up to bigger and bigger problems. And I think that's what they're trying to get a handle on right now. What I would say is, listen, any good CEO is going to be able to manage this. Say what you want about Barack Obama. He got stuff done, all right? And he had everybody eating out of the palm of his hand, for goodness sakes. And no one dared to cross him. Well, with Donald Trump, for whatever reason, with this whole deep state community, the media community, et cetera, they hate him. They hate him. hate him, and they hate him some more. And so they feel perfectly justified in doing whatever they have to do, right? It justifies, however, in their brains, they justify what they're doing. And so I think he got served kind of a different dish. I'd also add that as a good manager, as a good CEO, you got to nip this stuff in the bud. Like, you cannot have the place leaking like a sieve. And it was leaking like a sieve. Look at this. Todd Blanche saying, hey, to the media asking about DOJ investigating the leak of classified information. He writes, prosecuting leakers who share our nation's secrets with reporters, in turn risking our national security and the lives of our soldiers, is a priority for this administration. He just put this out this morning. Any witness, whether a reporter or otherwise, who has information about these criminals should not be surprised if they receive a subpoena about the illegal leaking of classified material. Because, you know, so often you hear, well, sources say, etc. And in some cases, this information that they're leaking is classified. Mark Kelly is another one that's on the list. And by the way, they're not even shying away from this one. I mean, this is very, very public, given what he said on the CBS show Face the Nation over the weekend. They are accusing him, one Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon is accusing Senator Mark Kelly of violating that trust as a government member, right? As a senator, he's going to have access to classified stuff, and you can't go out and blab it everywhere, whether it be to reporters or on a national news show or on your Twitter account. So MTG is another one that they're looking at right now. MTG, well, she's kind of in the tabloids, shall we say. Apparently, she sold her house in Georgia back in March for $1.1 million. We don't know who bought it. One would hope it's not foreign interest, right? I'm kidding, and yet not. No, anyway, I'm sure she sold it to an upstanding buyer. Anyway, she sold it for $1.1 million. Quite a lot of acreage there. 10.6 acres there in Georgia, 5,000 square feet, 4.5 baths, and now suddenly she's off vacationing with her. What was he? He was some kind of reporter. I think he was a White House reporter, actually, for a conservative network. I think his name is Brian Glenn, and he is enjoying the good life, apparently, with MTG in Costa Rica. I'm going to get back to Tucker Carlson. I'm going to get back to Joey Kent. I'm going to get back to Mark Kelly. But just first, so I keep you up to speed, because it's a lot. Believe me, I know it is a lot. This MTG is apparently fleeing the country, hanging out in Costa Rica, posting lovely little lifestyle posts about her wonderful vacation, and she's ready for the next chapter in her life. There you see a couple of coffee cups, her other post being, I guess, on the beach with the love of her life right now. And do you guys know Laura Loomer? she's like all over this. So Laura is accusing MTG of fleeing the country very specifically because, in fact, there are questions about her allegiance, and that allegiance had come up over and over. She actually got out right before the Iran strike, so I don't know as we can tie that so directly to her, but here she is. Laura's writing, MTG has fled the country to Costa Rica, where she's now, it gets better, she's now living in a $5 million mansion after selling her home in Rome, Georgia for $1.1 million in March.
With Rula, your mental health care is covered by insurance and transparent upfront pricing.
Not much will put a bell tower mechanic ill at ease, but unchanged oil and worn down brakes.
So that part is interesting. I have not been able to confirm that Marjorie Taylor Greene bought a foreign villa in Costa Rica, but if she did, man, I mean, gosh, Laura's saying, hey, you know, those stock tips must have paid off well. And she's accusing her of insider trading. Anyway, it goes on to say Costa Rica only allows for tourists to stay for 90 days. Does this mean that Marjorie, she calls her Trader Green, has applied for dual citizenship or has already obtained citizenship in Costa Rica? And if so, for how long is she planning to flee the country to become a citizen of a foreign country? As a now former member of Congress, the purchase of the property proves she began this process as a member of Congress, all while she pretends to be America first and America only. More rules for thee, but not for me. This is further evidence, she writes, of MTG's fight with President Trump, that it has always been planned. She was always planning to leave Congress in America. Now she gets to cry victim and say, I'm forced into exile, right? Because the president has jeopardized my life. She's so calculated and fake, writes Laura. And then she goes on, you know who else bought property abroad? Tucker, she calls him Tarlson. He bought a home in Qatar. Okay. So she's not messing around because it gets even better. She's now accusing Marjorie Taylor Greene of insider trading because how else could she have afforded that $5 million villa? Again, I have not confirmed that Marjorie owns any such villa. In fact, Marjorie actually came out and told the Daily Mail today, no, there is no villa. I wish you would actually tell me where the keys are to this so-called villa. So she's like, no, we're just like moving, we're just traveling the world and trying to see some other things at this point in our lives. But this is all brewing, and she's bringing Tucker into it. Laura is, and she's suggesting that this money may have been gotten in some nefarious ways. So that brings up some very, very interesting questions. And don't forget what I told you, that a lot of this leaking may have been coming from the vice president's office as well as the director of national intelligence office, because you had Joe Kent working in one of those offices for Tulsi. And the FBI was investigating him when he resigned. And then you had Tucker Carlson's son, working in JD's office on the PR side. So I imagine a lot of information was being shared, and that could come back in some pretty serious ways. Look, I'm a reporter, so I tend to always want to be able to communicate as much as possible. But I would say this, if you're working for the government, shame on you, right? Shame on you. You need to be very aware of whatever is classified. And you may have a difference of opinion. It doesn't mean you go running off to your favorite podcaster. And this is going to be a problem, I would imagine, at least for the people that are accused of having leaked.
Okay, 2 more.
Mark Kelly's one of those guys. Don't forget Mark Kelly. Senator Mark Kelly was part of the seditious six who was trying to tell the military not to obey orders. I mean, this guy is bonkers, okay? Seriously bonkers. And he's in it now. Boy, is he in it, because he went on to CBS's Face the Nation over the weekend, and he gave away apparently some proprietary classified information that he shouldn't be declassifying. Listen.
Now to Arizona Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, who we spoke with earlier, and began by asking whether the Pentagon has provided an answer on how depleted U.S. munitions are because of the war with Iran.
Yes, Margaret, we have. We've been tracking it. A number of times we've been briefed by the Pentagon on specific munitions. Actually, it's been pretty detailed on Tomahawks, ATACMS, SM-3s, THAAD rounds, Patriot rounds, so those interceptor rounds to defend ourselves. And the numbers are, I think it's fair to say, it's shocking, how deep we have gone into these magazines, because this president got...
I don't really want to play the whole thing, but you get the picture. He's basically saying, like, we're depleting our weapons supply. So Pete Hegseth didn't appreciate that. Pete Hegseth, Department of Wars, Pete Hegseth, and my former colleague. Amazing how many of these people I've worked with, right? Anyway, he's like, Captain Mark Kelly strikes again. Now he's blabbing on TV falsely and dumbly about a classified Pentagon brief he received. Did he violate his oath again? We're going to review this. So the legal counsel is reviewing it. Now he's saying, no, I didn't violate my oath. You've talked about this depletion and the need to actually replenish it in hearings. And so this is what's going on. But let me go back to, Scott Jennings had a really, really good point on this, because it's not becoming. Like, you don't get on there and say all this stuff in your position, Senator Kelly. And in light of your seditious six move, it really feels icky. Here is Scott Jennings.
What's going on here? Mark Kelly's partisan interests are what's most important. This man is a United States senator. He's getting classified briefings from the Pentagon, and then he goes on television and tells our enemies around the world in great specificity which weapon systems are depleted, which need to be restocked. Setting aside the legal issues, which I'm with Molly, I'm not a lawyer either, and I don't know what the future of that holds. Did he ever stop to ask himself, what is in the best interests of the United States of America and not just my own political future? Because it's obvious that he did not. A sitting senator going on television and telegraphing to our enemies and our threats around the world what we may or may not have, it's extraordinarily irresponsible. But let's not let that get in the way of a presidential campaign.
Well, I mean, Scott, but to Molly's point, could you not say, I mean, if Hegseth was legitimately most interested in national security, he easily could have lost this investigation and not said anything about it, right?
Oh, well, I mean, it's already out in the open when Kelly goes on television.
Right, but he's now elevated what Kelly said, right?
I think everybody heard it. It was on.
And if the defense secretary is in fact acknowledging and saying, well, he revealed classified information here, he is confirming publicly what Molly said he is doing.
So the options here would be to ignore it or to lie about it?
No, the option would be to investigate and not tell the press.
Look,
right?
I mean, look, Mark Kelly went on television and said, I got a classified briefing and here's what I was told.
I'm just saying it sounds like they're both doing the same thing, right? Everyone's playing politics here. I mean, if you're going to buy into your argument that, hey, this is a senator, right, who's running for president and that's what we're acknowledging he's doing, like, is Hegseth not doing the same thing?
This all started because a senator received classified information and chose to disclose it for the good of his own partisan interests.
Right. And that's just not a cool thing to do. Okay. So he's accused of sharing classified intel. They've got an investigation going on into these reporters that shared information that was believed to be classified. And I suspect they are looking back over J.D. Vance's office and also Tulsi Gabbard's office. Okay, there you have it. Oh, and we're not done because Representative Jayapal, she's also in the crosshairs. She's also being accused of violating the Logan Act. So a whole other kind of treason, if you would. Don't forget what she was saying about Cuba, right? Like she's working with the Cubans and she's working with the Russians and everybody that she can to try and make sure that the people have oil, they have energy in Cuba. But she seems to forget that we've sanctioned all those countries and that she's not supposed to be working with them directly like that. I mean, isn't this part of the pressure campaign? Isn't the idea that you actually want to make it challenging so that, hey, you know, according to the president, they want to do a deal with us too, right? Why not? Because they've been shut off from the entire world, unless Jayapal has anything to do with it, because Jayapal is like, well, let me turn the spigot back on. Let's just make life really comfortable for them. And then they'll be all, you know, well, they'll continue doing what they're doing. So this lady saying this, just a quick clip, Jayapal.
It's tourism. I have called these sanctions an economic bombing of the infrastructure of Cuba. It is illegal. It is against the war. We've been talking about this in Iran, obviously, to bomb the infrastructure of any country. That is against international law. This is essentially doing the same thing. It is bombing the infrastructure of Cuba with economic sanctions that essentially ensure that the infrastructure.
And so now she's trying to work with some of the bad guys to make sure that they got all the oil they need. And this is not sitting so well with a lot of us, including Brendan Gill, the representative from Texas. Listen to what he had to say.
Texas.
Who do we represent? Do we represent the interests of the American people, or do we represent the interests of hostile foreign regimes like Cuba? And she seems to believe the latter. I mean, the reality is that this is an evil communist regime that tortures its own people, that operates as a hub for some of our biggest geopolitical adversaries, including Russia, whom she also believes that she ought to be helping aid the importation of oil into Cuba for. So this is astounding on so many levels. But I think that it's something that the American people recognize, is that we've got a Democrat Party who is operating in the interests of our geopolitical foes. And that's a big problem.
Yeah, kind of a problem. Okay. We've got our enemies out there. So we don't need Jayapal hanging out with them. We don't need Bernie Sanders. Remember the other day he was doing that big panel and he had some woman who's bankrolled by China on the panel with him. It's like, what is going on?
Okay, I got two in for Trisha. We got a cast video of my head, Chicago. Chicago, 16 minutes there.
Indeed.
We met in May and we fell in love.
And it felt like
After losing millions, Walgreens has decided to leave
This
Chicago.
Walgreens has been in the Chatham neighborhood for decades, a place where residents could walk and pick up their prescription. That will soon change as Walgreens says it's closing its doors for good.
For good?
Do right by us. Do right by us. They're making their message clear and known, walking inside the Walgreens on 87th and Cottage Grove.
They don't care about the well-being. It's not their family that's on these meds.
Walgreens recently announced it's closing its doors in the Chatham neighborhood due to a higher level of theft and violent incidents, leaving the closest location now more than a mile away. Daryl Smith says he relies on this Walgreens because his 76-year-old mother had a lung transplant and takes 54 pills a day.
Then he should be upset that the city of Chicago won't lock up its criminals. But do you think that's going to happen anytime soon?
He says during his lunch break, he gets her medication from this Walgreens in the 6th Ward.
And if they close this Walgreens, the next one is not within the distance for me to do on my lunch break. So it's real inconvenience.
6th Ward Alderman William Hall says he wants what they've done in other neighborhoods, modifications.
What we're witnessing is, again, a tale of two cities. Downtown on 12th Street, they figured it out. On 87th Street, they just give up. They've been giving up in the 4th Ward, the 5th Ward, now the 6th Ward.
This isn't the first time Walgreens has moved.
So because one Walgreens is still open for now and this one's shutting, the company has committed a cardinal sin. But the reality is all the criminals now only have one store to rob.
This isn't the first time Walgreens has moved out of South Side neighborhoods. Last year, we reported Walgreens announced it was closing 5 Chicago locations, including a significant store in the Bronzeville neighborhood at 35th and King Drive.
To turn it back on the south side of Chicago is absolutely inhumane.
Inhumane, but they're getting
Walgreens, shame on you.
Walgreens.
Oh no. Nobody bothered to ask the store why it's closing, except Fox, who says that theft is 16% here, 4 times higher than what the company's used to. And look at this. Those lock boxes, those things that increase the cost of what the law-abiding pay for, well, those get robbed all the time too. They're useless. Those are the progressive solution to crime. The theory is if you lock up all the products, you don't have to lock up any of the criminals. And it looks like that didn't work. But do we dare ask some of these folks who are in denial who's at fault here?
Walgreens should be charged with first-degree corporate abandonment. It should be a crime the way they're treating our elders. It should be a crime the way they're treating our families.
What about the criminals? What should they be charged
responding
with?
with the statement in part, quote, despite a range of efforts, including previous operating adjustments, these ongoing safety challenges made it increasingly difficult to maintain a secure environment for our team members and customers.
Why does nobody want to blame the criminals? Maybe this is what Walgreens should have done. Look at this. Look at this Kroger.
And when you turn this way, that is also a barricade.
The whole thing is a jail.
Wow, this is crazy. So you come in, there's a door there to enter, and this entire health, wellness section is like barricaded off within the store.
Yeah, because it gets robbed.
That is so wild to me.
And it's not like closing a store is something the store can do for free. Look at this. Walgreens said 2 things. They said, first of all, the profitability was down because of all the crime and not as many people were filling prescriptions here. So it's not like they could have the loss leader, which is the stuff on the shelf, continue in the face of declining overall business. So people aren't paying for the stuff inside the store. More of the stuff inside the store is getting stolen from it, which means people are already getting their prescriptions somewhere else. Apparently, this store lost over $1 million last year. That's insane. If your store is losing $1 million, it ain't staying open for very long.
Signs outside this Cottage Grove Walgreens explicitly warn customers it is closing in less than a month.
Less than a
It's
month.
a big deal, especially for people who depend on this specific store.
Who there are now
like Randy
less of.
Evans.
Now you're gonna tell me it's not racially motivated? Okay. I mean, you didn't close nothing in Andersonville.
In Carla, Germany.
I don't drive. Having to go cross town to get my medicine will be an inconvenience.
At a community town hall inside St. Mark's United Methodist Church Saturday morning,
got another
officials
bidding
from
just
Walgreens
came
said at
out,
the front,
a big
while a
one
few
from
dozen people
Tulsi
wanted to
Gabbard.
know why this
20 minutes,
location.
I think it is.
I can't
Walgreens
believe
says
they
theft
went to
there
that.
is at 16% 4 times the company average.
So you have a Walgreens. It's in a high crime area, and nobody wants to admit that it's in a high crime area. It's like people will do everything. They will blame the company. They will look at stores in other neighborhoods that remain open. They will accuse the executives of first-degree corporate abandonment, but they won't admit that there's a crime problem. They will not talk about that for some reason. It's almost like admitting that means the store is closing for a valid reason.
Prescription volume fell 30% the last 5 years, and pharmacy reimbursement rates are 25%.
So how can they complain about the prescriptions if the volume's down?
Those lock boxes are getting destroyed, and that's a great.
Walgreens is average.
A lot of times those lock boxes are getting destroyed, and that's a great cost to the company.
Yeah.
Walgreens says lock boxes and full-time security costs $400,000 a year at this location.
$400,000 a year to have security and lock boxes. And you want to tell me that crime has nothing to do with the unaffordability crisis in these blue cities? When you go to a store and you see security guards parked outside and you see people inside the store run around with a little key to open up everything because it's all getting stolen, that $400,000, don't tell me that doesn't go into the prices of these products. That's why things are expensive in Chicago and in New York and in every single place that is essentially legalized looting by refusing to lock up looters and thieves and punish this in any way. I am shocked that it costs
Even
this
that
much.
doesn't stop customers from jumping over counters to steal liquor, cigarettes, and make threats to team members.
Just imagine being a cashier, your daughter, your son being a cashier and witnessing those things.
That's
to prevent
awful.
more locations from closing,
That's
Walgreens
dangerous.
says they will pay for security features and swap out their guards for tactical security.
Tactical.
Death, violence.
But even these reasons are not enough for some neighbors who now must trek over a mile to get prescriptions. Now, customers that use this location are being asked to use other nearby locations like 75th and State Street and 87th and Stony Island.
Okay, so there are other locations. And as we just heard from the Walgreens executives who look like they are legitimately heartbroken that they even have to make this decision, there will be new security measures at the stores that remain open. And here's why that's such a big deal. If you have a whole bunch of stores, Walgreens in Chicago, they've closed 6 stores over the last year. If 5 stores close and there's 1 store left, that critical mass of thieves that were ripping off all the other stores, they've all got to congregate and go after one specific location. That remaining store is going to be subject to 6 times as much crime. They're going to have to lock down everything. They're going to have to spend millions in security just to keep the place open, which is why they're closing so many stores. And look, the most depressing thing about this is the fact that when you see these products all locked up, what this is essentially happening is you have a city like Chicago or New York telling businesses that, hey, crime isn't going to be our problem anymore. It's going to be your problem. We're not going to police crime anymore, so you better figure out a way to do it. And that directly translates to a higher cost of operating these businesses. And the only way they're going to get the money to operate is getting it from the residents who say they can't afford to live in these places. But nobody wants to connect the dots between crime and poverty. It's like, it's such a simple connection to make, but we don't even want to talk about it. But just before we continue, do you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns? Or have you filed every year but just keep owing? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? Are you a business owner with messy books and a balance you can't afford? Or did you just pull money out of your 401k and now the IRS wants its cut? However your tax issue started, the outcome is the same. Your balance is not going to go down. Instead, penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again this year without a plan in place. So stop what you're doing right now and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. The IRS is enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and even property seizures. Plus, they can even file for you without your consent. But that's where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years of experience, there's not a tax situation they haven't seen a resolve. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide come up with a plan and get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their tax team has resolved over $1 billion in outstanding debt. They can do the same for you if you call now. They're offering a free investigation call with the IRS. And after that call, they put a clear case plan in place to help you resolve your matters and get back on track. This is about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Do not wait for another IRS letter or frozen bank account. Call 866-686-1735. That's 866-686-1735. Or you can visit tnusa.com/cash. This link will also be in the video description. Now let's get back to the video.
Another Walgreens is closing. This Cottage Avenue Walgreens in the city's Chatham neighborhood will close on June 4th. It is the 6th Walgreens to close on the city's south side in the past year. Several city council members say the latest closure is creating a pharmaceutical drought, especially for older Black residents who rely on this store for their prescriptions.
Then why aren't they doing anything about it?
Released by the Chicago area-based company, Walgreens says this location has experienced a significant high levels of theft and violent incidents. Some customers say is true, but they hope a compromise can be reached so they can continue to get their prescriptions.
Right. So the compromise. What kind of compromise do they want? If the compromise isn't, okay, the people who steal lose their freedom and go to jail, the only way you can have a compromise is with prices going up. And with the store costing so much to operate, nobody shops there. And as expected, in a lawless city that won't punish criminals or do anything to help businesses, there are other affordability problems too.
Everything is going up. Whether you're paying a mortgage or paying a landlord, the price to keep a roof over your head keeps climbing. Renters want relief, while landlords say their hands are tied. With gas nearing $7 a gallon and grocery bills steadily
we know why those are up.
It's safe to say most people are watching how they're spending every dollar. But there's $1 or hundreds of dollars people can't control.
The rent keeps increasing year to year, just keeps going up and up and up.
From the south side to the north side, renters are feeling the pinch and looking for relief.
It seems like there's annual increases of $200 to $300 in rent in different spots, and you just gotta.
That's because there's a housing crisis.
Is affordable.
Many groups are calling for Illinois to change a law that's nearly 30 years old. They want rent control so people don't get forced out of their apartments and neighborhoods.
Just kind of
a disaster.
A thing where they're like, deal with it or, move somewhere else.
People think if you own property, then that must mean that you can pay the bills for it.
Ebony Lucas is a landlord who owns this 3 flats in Bronzeville. Her tenants received a notice for payment changes.
We're increasing our rents for the first time since 2021. And we didn't want to.
But Lucas points to this property tax
bill.
bill.
It is. So you got the government here that is stopping property owners from trying to make money by raising taxes because it needs money to fund all of its nonsense. Therefore, rents are going up. And now renters want rent control. They want landlords to have profit that stays here and the baseline to just keep going up so that they can stay forever. This is the same thing we're witnessing with Walgreens. They want Walgreens to stay open even though they're losing money, and the baseline keeps going up because of all the theft. It's the same thing. You have an attitude of entitlement. That's what you have here. People want everything for free. They want stores to stay open even though they're getting robbed blind. They want their landlords to stop raising the rent even though their business is going out of business. But there are other problems these landlords are having. Listen.
On the building jumped 76%. She once paid about $7,400, but now
the bill went to $21,000.
76% more
Lucas
taxes.
insisting most independent landlords are not trying to push tenants out or just increase the rent for greed.
They just want to collect.
She believes most are in her shoes, forced to pass the extra cost on to tenants. Currently, 7 states allow rent control, but Lucas says that's not an easy fix.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. I'm here in New York. We got $5,000 a month rents in some parts of Manhattan right now. It is more expensive than it's ever been to get an apartment in New York. And we have rent control on about half the apartments. And you know what that does? That takes half the available apartments in New York, locks them up because nobody's moving once you get one of those apartments. It's also bankrupting the landlords. So pretty soon, those apartments that are locked up disappear permanently. And what does that mean? Anything that's market rate, anything that's not under a rent control apparatus, the rents on that go up even higher because all these apartments over here aren't even part of the situation. None of these places want to build stuff. They don't want to build their way out of it. They want to tax their way out of it. They want to rent control their way out of it.
If we have rent control, we have to have expense control.
Right.
Because otherwise what you're going to do is you're going to force the small people who live in the community, who love the community, and who do this because we enjoy it. You're going to force us out.
Yep.
And all you're going to have is the big major companies that are not going to treat their tenants the same.
And then the big major companies, they're going to do what Walgreens does, because you know what? If you can only make this much and the bottom keeps going up, eventually there's going to be no room even for a Walgreens to stick around. A Walgreens-sized landlord, the massive corporate juggernauts, they're not immune from the fact that if profits are capped, eventually the money runs out. And what nobody wants to admit is the real unaffordability crisis in these deep blue cities that nobody can afford to live in is being experienced by the places that would be able to do something about it if they were allowed to. For example, the landlords, since building is restricted in these places and landlords are getting hammered with taxes, they can't lower their rents, and they're not under incentive from intense competition to do that because there's not millions of apartments popping up people can rent. Same thing with Walgreens. You think Walgreens wants to price out people in the community? It decided to open a store. They wouldn't have opened these stores if they didn't think they could go in there and give people something that was going to be so good. They decided to shop at the Walgreens that just opened. But no, things are so bad for the Walgreens, they have to close the store that they opened. They didn't open the store to shut it down. They opened the store to go in there and win, and they're forced to lose. And then the whole city of Chicago loses along with it. What do you think about that? See you in the next video.
Okay, that was Cash today. Got one that just came out. That's supporting the one from Minnie.
Slide. That would have broken the bank. Let's survive for like help.
Let's begin with some biblical wisdom. King Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, was for the dilemma. Two women claimed to be the mother of an infant child. There was no DNA test back then. So in this ancient version of the Maury show, King Solomon said, how about this? I'll cut up the baby and you can each have half. And one woman said, please do that. And the other woman said, no matter what you do, don't do that. Just let her have the child. At least the child will be safe. And Solomon knew exactly who the mom was in that moment. The illustration there sort of shows us that it is the true owners, the true desires of peace, of protection of life that are going to want to keep things together. They're going to want to stop the innocent slaughter. And they'll do anything to stop it. And that is precisely what is happening right now in the Ukraine war. There's one side that's saying, hey, let's end the killing. And then there's two sides of that war that are not wanting to do that. Let's go ahead and look at who's saying what. And it'll show you who wants to split the baby, as it were. So this past weekend, the Kremlin said something remarkable. Vladimir Putin speaking said, yo, it's time for us to end the war in Ukraine. You never heard him say this before. Talking to the press, he was at the Kremlin, and he said, it's time for this to be over. President Trump has negotiated a ceasefire, and Putin's like, yep, we're winding this war down right now. I'm sure you speak Russian. I'm sure you could totally understand all of that. Maybe you could translate it for me. What he said is the conflict in Ukraine is at an end. President Trump actually just seconds ago said the Ukraine-Russia war will be over very, very soon. President Trump on the Ukraine and Russia war, we will do whatever is necessary. That war is getting closer, and we think we are going to end up getting a settlement between Russia and Ukraine.
End up getting a settlement between. Do you think it might happen this year? It could. I mean, what I will do whatever is necessary. That war, I've settled 8 wars. That war is getting closer. Believe it or not, it's getting closer. And we think we're going to end up getting a settlement between Russia and Ukraine.
So what a messy shot, but that's the best that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes those things just go helter-skelter. So Putin saying, let's end the war. Trump saying, let's end the war, and he's been saying that for a long time. Trump met with Putin in order to do that. Trump's obviously met with Zelensky and smacked him around like a little stepchild at the White House. Now the Kremlin is saying that it's time for the Ukraine war to end. And Zelensky says, no. Zelensky is saying, no, please. I want it to continue for as long as possible. You know. Ladies and gentlemen, Zelensky's been lying, and Marco Rubio just called him a liar. Marco Rubio called Zelensky out as a liar about the terms to end the war. Marco Rubio, of course, in the driver's seat, but he's saying that Volodymyr Zelensky is a liar. He knows what he's telling you is not true. It's just not true. So here we go.
What is this? The U.S. tells Zelensky that
Zelensky says security guarantees depend on withdrawing from the Donbass.
And I saw him say that, and it's unfortunate he would say that because he knows that's not true, and that's not what he was told. What he was told is the obvious. Security guarantees are not going to kick in until there's an end to a war, because otherwise you're getting yourself involved in the war. Okay, what is a security guarantee? It is troops that are willing to step in and secure it. If you put that in place now, that means you're injecting yourself in the war. What he was told very clearly, and he should have understood it, is that the security guarantees come only after there is an end to the war. But that was not attached to unless he gives up territory. I don't know why he says these things. They're just not true.
He sounds pissed. Marco Rubio sounds pissed. I don't know why he says these things. They're just not true. Well, the reason why he says these things is obviously because he's a rat. Zelensky's a dirty, rotten rat. And he's a rat who knows exactly why he's eating a rat. The eating of the cheese, Parmesan cheese in the case of Zelensky, if you know what I mean, is, you can see right here. Isn't that the shot? He's sitting here saying that America gives Ukraine hundreds of billions of dollars, but I can't even account for half of it in this interview. So he says, that's $100 billion. But they've given us $200 billion, and we don't know where the rest of it went.
177 або 200, говорять навіть деякі люди, ми ніколи не отримували. І це важливо.
Oh, okay, got it. I wonder why he doesn't want the war to end, but maybe this is how we end it. Tulsi Gabbard confirmed she's investigating more than 120 U.S.-funded biolabs. 40 of them are in Ukraine. It appears that Trump and the administration are securing rogue biological and nuclear threats worldwide, and it is happening. We have long thought that what's going to end up happening is the trap, the pressure trap that comes from a lot of different sides on this stuff. And that's what Iran was all about. And that Iran was a geopolitical play against Ukraine and against China, against Russia and China. They love Iran, those nations, and they're sort of a rogue set of nations. And in order to wind down the actual war in Ukraine, that President Trump was going to apply pressure to Iran. That pressure was going to influence China. China, of course, is playing in both regions. The more you squeeze and create a Thucydides trap, tink, right in the middle of
4 minutes.
That region. Clink. If you can start cutting
I got that
all
one
the
over
oil lines in
lady.
Russia, destroying them, that's what they're doing.
Oh,
That's
one of
Russia's
them. That's a
really
15-minute
only
one coming
export. Then you can cut off Iran. You
Still
can cut off
don't
that
really
oil
yet.
export. China has no oil. China gets no oil. They have no fuel capacity. Build compute.
the
Why do you
other
think
two
China's
ladies
building
are not
so many wind farms and solar farms
tonight.
like madmen?
Oh,
They're
one of
building
them.
this style of energy because they have no
favorite.
oil themselves, and they know that they're getting cut off from the world's oil supply one day after another. It's just going to collapse that nation. Without energy, China just goes right back to where their stasis is, which is a third world hellhole. And so China doesn't want to do that. And so President Trump is headed to China right now. He has sort of a trap set up. And they could wrap up, Donald Trump knows he could wrap up and be the world's warlord with all of the energy for the AI compute funneled through his new conquest of Iran, which is now under American stewardship and control, right? And being in the Strait of Hormuz and the blockade. And then Venezuela, which is now a vassal state of America. Those were the oil selling countries to China. He's cut off China. And then, of course, he's ended the Ukraine war, which will skyrocket the economy, bring stability to Eastern Europe, and then also to the Persian Gulf. And that, of course, will create such a booming roar for American dollars and American assets that'll be certainly a golden age. And that seems like it's the play. Are they going to apply hard pressure to Zelensky in order to shut this rat down? Yeah, of course. They've already started to mass arrest some of his top commanders and the people in charge. I think they just want him to stay there as a figurehead for stability, to shut up, do the line, and sign on the line. You know what I mean? And so that's what this is going to be. Tulsi Gabbard is going to be now applying pressure. Director of National Intelligence says she's investigating 120 biological laboratories abroad that were funded by U.S. taxpayer dollars for the decade as part of an effort to potentially risky experiments with viruses pursuant to President Trump's executive orders on gain-of-function research. Gabbard told the Post on Monday in a statement that her team has been going to identify where these labs are, what pathogens are contained in the research, and conducting and dangerous gain-of-function research. The COVID experiments have been catastrophic pathogens and biolabs. So I think it's a wonderful thing that she's actually doing this. President Trump here woke up to this. 20 FBI, CIA agents dropped a political nuke on Obama by confirming that Barack Obama and former CIA director fabricated the Russia hoax, were locked away in a CIA vault for nearly a decade, discredited President Trump's election by manipulating intelligence. Tulsi Gabbard, man, I think is like one of the all-timers. I think she's done an amazing job in this current Trump administration. We're big fans of her. And I think this is going to be part of the hard and soft pressure campaign in order to wind down both of these conflicts at the same time. I actually think that's what the Iran war is all about. And then please put Dr. Fauci in prison when this is all said and done. Okay? Like the video if you want Dr. Fauci in prison, and then let's manifest that. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.
Okay. On the one that just came out.
Adventure Travel provides life-changing small group adventure.
Here's Senator Slotkin on CNBC's Squawk Box yesterday, claiming that President Trump is going begging to China because we're losing the Iran war.
But at this point, we're going in a little bit on our heels because the Strait of Hormuz, the Persian Gulf, isn't open. And now, I'm hearing a lot of things around Washington that the president is going to have to ask the Chinese for their help resolving what's going on with Iran. That doesn't put us in a strong position. That means we need something from them, and they're going to extract more things from us. So I think, obviously, the Chinese are hurting as well. The whole world is hurting. The whole global economy is hurting because the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And I think it's just unfortunate that on the board, the things we need to negotiate with the Chinese, we're now creating a dependency on them that otherwise wouldn't be there if it weren't for the war in Iran.
Say what, Miss Expert on everything? China is dependent on Iran for oil and gas. The Strait of Hormuz being closed is hurting a Chinese economy that was already weak. Meanwhile, because of Trump, our economy is roaring and we're drowning in surplus oil and gas that the world is lining up to buy. That's called leverage in real-world power politics. Slotkin spent the weekend in Toronto with Mark Carney, Barack Obama, the people from the Center for American Progress who populated Obama's administration, and, of course, Alex Soros. They were desperately planning their next moves in the hopes of saving themselves. They've never understood that physical economic growth determines whether a nation survives or not. That's not the only problem. As President Trump said in his State of the Union, they're also deeply crazy, despite their manufactured public faces.
But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we've been talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately. Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Amazing. 7. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've watched and documented the slow motion collapse of our country beginning in 1971. That's when Wall Street and London bankers started the deliberate destruction of our economy. At the same time, they insisted we surrender our sovereignty to the global rules-based order Carney and Obama are trying desperately to save. Today, we'll first check in on Mark Carney's losers. Then we'll tour the American economic boom. Finally, we'll look at a possible U.S.-China breakthrough that could power a renaissance for all of humanity. But first, hit that like button and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. Now, Susan Kokinda told you on Monday about Mark Carney's meeting in Canada with Barack Obama and the people who ran his administration. It was a desperate summit trying to figure out how to recapture the American working class, the people who see Donald Trump as their last defense against the likes of Obama, Slotkin, and Carney's central bankers. Carney's idea is to have Canada and the UK join the EU and collaborate against US, China, and Russia. But the UK population is in revolt and is ousting their man there, Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, Tony Blair's heir, Obama's protege, the safe pair of hands the rules-based order needed in London, just got smashed in last Thursday's local elections. He's vowed to soldier on in what he calls a 10-year project. But the UK population wants none of it. Here's a meme summing up the situation. Now, the way Carney's crowd thinks Europe can revive its collapsing economy is through defense spending. And that depends on the Ukraine war continuing. But there's huge problems there too. On Monday, Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau named Andrei Yermak, Zelensky's former chief of staff and lead negotiator with the United States, as a suspect in a $10.5 million money laundering scheme. And that's just the beginning of the probe. Also on Monday, Zelensky's former press secretary, Ilya Mendel, went on Tucker Carlson and painted Zelensky as a power-hungry fanatic. Alex Craner, who tracked Ukraine for years and has personal contacts there, has a terrific summary on his Substack. He thinks the country is headed into civil war. And Senator Slotkin, the pretend know-it-all who went from Toronto straight to CNBC to diss the president ahead of his China trip, is the credentialed product of the war establishment that built every disaster of the last quarter century.
I got a cool experience I got to tell you about, man. A gentleman called.
Mentored by John Negroponte, Stephen Hadley, and Lieutenant General Doug Luty under Bush, she helped sell the Iraq War, and those were the key players. Then she went to the Pentagon working with the Michelle Flourney network that got climate change declared a major national security threat. John Brennan on MSNBC Monday gave us a window into what Obama was telling those people in that secret closed session in Toronto. Brennan, facing indictment in Florida, spilled the beans as follows.
I think, as Liz mentioned, there's still a legion of professionals in the law enforcement environment, the Department of Justice, as well as the CIA and other places, the ones who are refusing to follow politically motivated prosecutions, those who are refusing to support any type of political activities on the part of the Trump administration that are inconsistent with the authorities, the responsibilities of the intelligence community, law enforcement community, and Department of Justice.
That's what they have left, a bureaucratic insurgency. Meanwhile, the actual American economy is roaring despite all the expert prophets of doom. Now, if you're hearing for the first time who our real enemies are, you need to be signing up for our free newsletter at PrometheanAction.com. The link is in the description. Here's what's really happening with the American economy under Trump. Despite the temporary inflation.
Sorry about that. I'm going to have to show only half of her video because guess who I got? We got Mel. So we got to stay up late tonight, Flying Eagle. 54 minutes. I just saw it.
Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to believe. It's actually Wednesday today. It is good to be here, as always. And
This will probably
there
be the
is
last one.
so
you
much
guys.
going on. It is incredible. I don't even really know where to start, but this is the beauty about having a Q&A. You all get to come on and direct where we're going. So, Mandavaz, you put your hand up straight away. I hope that wasn't by accident, because you can start the show today, sweet.
He's here or not.
I'll unleash you. What's on your mind, honey? No, that just automatically remuted. I don't know why, but anyway, there we go. Mandavaz. Nope. Yes. No. Anyway, that's okay. Whatever. It could have been by accident as well. Of course, we will skip about the last 10 minutes because we're going to go across and keep a very close eye on the actual event, so to speak, that is about to unfold. Of course, it's the 14th of May in Australia. The 14th is very significant. We've got the Clarity Act. We've got all sorts of things happening. And we will certainly see what transpires in the next few hours. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, so many different predictions. We had, like I said, I didn't even know where to start. So we want to start straight away with Q&A, because as I said, we're going to be about 10 minutes shorter tonight. So we can start. So put your hand up. Linda, how are you?
Hi, Mel. I'm great. This is the first time I've got to actually speak with you. I've asked several questions. I really enjoy your show and I learned so much. And I'm so grateful to you for all that you do for all the patriots. We're very blessed.
My pleasure, darling. So,
my question is related to, I was on your chat the other night and I asked the question right at the end. Didn't have time for Wildflower to ask it. You were talking about the Zim bonds and about the zeros being removed, and that we would, you were talking about our redemption, that we won't have a redemption center and all that kind of thing, that we will be contacted and probably do it at home. And my question about that was, if we have Zim bonds and Pango, which will be considered a bond as well, how will the structured payments be set up on that without us going in somewhere to sign some sort of an agreement? Would it be electronically for something like that, do you think?
Absolutely. This is my point, darling. Linda, that is exactly what I want you to work on, is that process that logically in your head. Everything's done electronically now, isn't it?
Right.
Everything is done electronically.
Right.
So what happens is, as long as you educate yourself and understand your bond exchange platform,
right,
then once you understand that, you've only got to understand the basics. You don't have to go into some ridiculous economist type of channel, but understand how it's going to work, and then it's on that platform that it'll be trunched, and they'll give you the yieldings paid out, this, that, and all the rest of it. So that's how it's going to roll out. But yes, it's going to be electronically.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to verify that with you.
No, that's okay, darling. No, you're right. You're right on the right track. And this is why, Linda, I have said also, it's this whole narrative of you must go back to the country and receive your funds. No, you can do it all electronically. Everything's done electronically these days. So, so whatever that narrative is, understand everything has changed now, and we will be able to do that electronically. So, well done to you. Kudos.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mel.
My pleasure, darling. So who's next? Jason. Jason Burr, I think it is. Jason. And then Regina. Jason, you wanted to ask a question? Just unmute yourself, darling. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'll chime in here just a little bit here.
That's cool. How are you, brother?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. What's your question, Don?
Yeah, I'll chime in for a question here in just a bit. Here, I gotta fly here.
Oh, that's okay. That's annoying. But dun, dun, dun. Regina, how are you? We'll go back to Jason in a minute. Regina. Nope.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you, sweet?
Oh, I'm good. How are you, Mel?
Very well, thank you.
I have a few questions. On the last live stream, you had a question about the Living Trust. I've made some research into it, and it's only available in America. Is it also available in Australia, and we just know how to find it?
It is available in Australia. It is coming. It's going to be released, including LLCs in Australia as well. So we don't have LLCs in Australia, but we will be. I believe that was being worked on last November. So they shouldn't be too far away. So, yeah, stay tuned.
Another question, if we don't have a humanitarian project, are we able to contribute to other people's projects, like an investment or a donation?
Yes, you can, absolutely.
And where would that be offered? Like, how does that come back?
That's generally done through organisations such as in Australia, there's a company called JB Ware. Yep. And they do all the philanthropy projects and things like that as well. So they run under the National Australia Bank banner. And so you can Google that one. JBWE.
Thanks, Dave. Love you. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Two more questions. It's very hard to get a head around all the changes that have been introduced in a budget on Tuesday in Australia. What do you make of it?
I actually was in a group just a second ago. I offered them to go through it, but no one responded for me to go through it because they were all hung up about it. But it's a very interesting one. I just actually had a look at it. They are definitely, it is definitely not your normal budget, Regina. You would have to admit it is not your normal budget.
No, it's not. And there's a lot of
Yeah. So what I might do, Regina, is I might actually do, like I said, I will do an Australian breakdown of that, whether it be a voice message or a show, and I will break it down because it was worth going through. I offered it to this other chat group, as I said, but they didn't respond for me coming in to go through it. But you've now brought it up, so I'm going to open it up and I will go through that. I won't be able to do it today, but we might do it tomorrow and break down the whole budget. And I'll give you my perspective and what I do know, what I can see in the background to support that, because that Australian budget was not like any other Australian budget. It was very Pacific. It was utilising many different things in the sense of the Aboriginals voting, this, that, and all the rest of it. So we're going to go through that one in depth. Probably we should do that on be my Thursday or Friday. So yeah. So we'll do that one, and I'll break it down. My pleasure, darling.
One more question before I let you go. I've looked through the chat and I couldn't find you previously posted holistic accountants and lawyers in Melbourne. Is it possible to repost that once more?
Yep. Okay. If not, it will be under. Trying to think of the lawyer's name now. If you just go into Google and type in holistic lawyers in Australia.
I did. It doesn't come up.
Oh, really? Oh, they've been very cheeky, aren't they, in their things? So, yeah, I'll go back and have a look for those too, Izzy. No worries. And remind me again, Regina, when I do the Australian breakdown of our budget as well. We'll definitely do that one because I found it fascinating. It is not a budget that I've ever seen before. So, but thank you, darling. We'll go back to Jason. No worries, honey. Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Jason, are you ready to go?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, how are you, darling? Yes, we'll get back to you and then I can scroll through. So.
Yeah, so I'm in Alberta, Canada.
Yes.
And I've gone through many banks and I've asked the great questions of ISO 222, currency exchanges. I've talked to managers and managers and managers, and they all look at me as if I have 15 heads on my shoulders.
Of course they do.
They know nothing about any of what I've just explained to them. Now, I thought this ISO 222 was a thing, like it was legit. It was out in the open, but yet they know nothing about it.
Of course they don't know anything about it, Don, because it's all done logistically in the background. So I'm just going to get my pen out because I'm going to write down some things to remind myself how I process this. So if you were to type in Canada for yourself, okay, and you want to find out if they are ISO compliant, you don't ask them because they wouldn't have a clue. The only thing they could tell you, Jason, is that they have updated their computer systems. Oh yeah, we can see some changes. That's about all they can tell you. But here's my point. If you were to type in Ripple, because we know that they're already running on the XRP ledger, so you're going to be fast-tracked for this one. So you type in Ripple, and then you type in the bank, that any bank in Canada, and it will then come up with links to show you that they are ISO compliant. Okay, so if you type in Ripple and the name of the bank from Canada, that will give you exactly what you need to know, that they are compliant, that they are all on the system. I can assure you of that. But definitely go and have a look at it for yourself. Then you can also have a look at whether they are Basel, BASEL 3 compliant. So you put Basel 3 and the bank, and that will give you to make sure that they have the gold and the silver and the platinum in their storage because they've all been audited. So there you go. So that's how you do it. And you can do that for every country, ladies and gentlemen, because Ripple is we're utilising the XRP ledger. So everyone can do that for their country as well. So there you go, Jace. Yeah, they don't know, darling. None of them know. They wouldn't have the faintest idea. But you can check it yourself. So
yeah, I guess I'll do that.
Okay, too easy. You're easy fix. Awesome. No worries. All right, darling. That's all you needed? That's all you needed for Canada?
More for you.
Yep.
So allegedly, and I believe it, but Canada never confederated. All provinces never confederated. So Alberta is right now in the middle of trying to separate. I'm just trying to figure out why are we separating from something we were never married to?
Very good question. Yes. Yep. So
yeah, I just wanted to know if you know anything about that.
Okay, so if you were to go back even further in history, okay, Alberta was Canada. The state of Alberta is Canada. That's why you focus on Alberta. So does Canada get called Alberta when all this is said and done?
Well, I don't know, because I know Canada is a corporation just like the United States and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
And I know
But if Alberta was the original federation of Canada, so to speak, then it claims to fame that that's why you focus on just Alberta. Interesting.
I'll look at that one. Yeah, I never heard it said like that.
I'm pretty sure you'll become one state. So when DJT Jason talks about Canada becoming the 51st state, think of it as Alberta and only Alberta. And when you do your history on that one, you better come back and tell me what you found, because I'm telling you now, that's where you're going to find it all, sunshine, is in Alberta. Okay?
Well, I've got pretty deep and
yeah. Change the
we're
algorithm.
actually the northern states.
Yeah, we'll change the algorithm again and put in Federation Alberta or Alberta Federation, I think it is, and do it the opposite. Change the algorithms in your phone change, or you can also change your settings to the server, go to Brave, or go and change it back to Chrome. So if you're in Brave and they've been cutting you off, because they all do it, go back to Google and try Google as well. The Alberta Federation, I think it is, and you should find some interesting stuff. Bring it up. Let me know, David. Yeah, no worries. Store time. Excellent. Too easy. Okay, Jan's Let's Party. Jan L at Heart, Let's Party. I don't know what quite that one is, but anyway, I'm sure she was the next one up, and then we'll go through the list as we go. So,
hi, Mel.
She is. How are you? Very well.
This is Janice. I'm from the United States in Kansas. I have a random question. Well, not really a random question. Due to the first question that the lady answered, my late husband collected currencies. So he's been collecting them for 20 plus years. So I'm not sure they're going to have an idea of what currencies I have.
Oh, that's sweetie. It's again, believe you me, the quantum physics and the quantum energy, they know, but that's another story. It's a very in-depth story. But you know, you still hold those currencies though yourself now.
Yes, I do.
No, this is the last one for tonight.
Separate countries and everything.
Perfect. Then just run with that, darling. Just run with it.
Yeah,
because as I said the other day.
Yeah, I have every country you can think of.
Oh, well, there you go. Like I said, some of them may be considered as commemorative as well, depending on how the age of them are. But you know what, darling? As I said, take everything in. Take it and get it verified. They may say that you may need to go to a museum. Who knows? But they are definitely worth something. Does that make sense? And God bless your late husband for doing all of that.
Thank you.
He had a transpire.
Thank you. That's the first time I talked to you, so thank you very much.
That's quite okay, darling. That's perfectly fine. So
you have a wonderful day for you.
Oh, absolutely. Always.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, darling. So, MJC, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. All the better for talking to you. So
I have a question, and it has to do, I know we're going digital. But, and I seen recently, we have on crypto, there's a USD1 token, and then there's also the RLUSD token.
Yep.
And
it's
then
confusing.
Yeah, and then there's also here recently they added a United States national currency. So when we go digital, are they going to be using all of the above, or is there going to be one specific one that they actually pick, and that's what we're going to go by for our actual money in the system?
That's a really good question. A lot of them got different types of utilities. Okay, so the RLUSD is your what we call wholesale. That's more like in your big governments and things like that as well. The USD1, I believe, is a stable coin, or the first stable coin. And the last one, I haven't done enough research to give you a warrant, a really good answer for you. But there is a few coming out. It's like in Australia, we have the AUDD. And that's running on a different platform as well. So your digital dollar or your digital stable coin is your USD1.
Okay, we
but
got
the latest one, I did see
in.
it, hun, but I haven't had a chance to warrant a great answer on that
hopefully I
one.
can get it
But
all
the
in. We got 40
RLUSD
minutes.
is your registered ledger for,
That will put us
like
at,
I said, the government's the transfer
little
of
after
wealth.
10 o'clock
It's
tonight, you guys.
utilized in a different way. So it's like Ethereum has many utilities, and it has different bridges off that, and that's what these bridges are. So the RLUSD is a different bridge, but it still runs on Ripple. Does that make sense? So they're just different bridges for different utilities, darling. So I'm going to make a note of that one because it probably does need me to go in and have a look and then put together an easy explanation. So in the coming weeks, Probably after the 19th of June, I will be doing one live show a week in the digital assets on YouTube, and that will be transferred over to that digital asset channel. And we can definitely talk about things like that. So happy days. So Carla B.
Hi, Mel. I just had it's one two-part question.
Thanks.
We heard from you the other night that the
Sorry, I
quantum
can't
computers
pronounce your
were going
name.
to know what we have, and we will not have
I've
to
been
go
doing
to
it
the
for 5
redemption
years,
center.
6 years. And
So the first part
doing the best
is,
that we can. We got over 1 million views, so
how
I
is
wanted to
quantum computer
accomplish.
going to
I
know
clearly
what we
made it.
have? And if we don't have
Small
to go to
team effort.
redemption centers,
Got a lot of good people
then
helping me.
so I have a Telegram group,
Thanks for
and we do a
supporting
lot
my
of
channel.
discussing.
Yep.
Said, if we're not going to a redemption center, then why have bank staff and trained in redemption? And all these facilities are showing Belarus machines. And if we're not
May I
doing
ask what state you're from?
then why were they trained and why did they have the machines?
I like to ask people their
Okay,
state.
right. So I've just something's just occurred to me. Let's put this, Carla, in a different perspective. And if you wanted me to come into your channel to do a one-on-one with your group or whatever, that's perfectly fine as well, darling. But just private message me for that. Now, here's the take on it. They're calling them redemption centers. They gave them a name. And you're correct. Many people are trained in foreign currencies. And it's a place where you can go and redeem or exchange. Correct? Does that make sense, Carla? Yep. Okay. So we've established that. What's happened is the gurus have saying that that's a redemption center. It's just a center where not all banks have the staff to be able to be trained in a lot of those currencies. So that's why we say that there is no redemption centers. There's nothing specific to state that. They've made that because they've probably gone to a very large bank that does have those facilities, and then the narrative came that they are redemption centers. Again, it's the same in Australia. All banks will do currency transfers digitally and electronically, but it doesn't mean that they are a redemption center. What I'm saying is that if there was to be some type of redeeming or exchanging, they would utilize, and again, the logistics of this is a nightmare, because it would have to be in a very big building that has security, it has the staff, it has the computer system, it has all of those things for you to go to. This is why they encouraged you to go and have a speak to private wealth managers. So they then call them part of the redemption process. Some of them are still not aware of currency exchanges because, as Jason and I have just discussed about Canada, none of them know about it. So how does this come about? Is because it was just a narrative that was fed to us that there was going to be redemption centers. It doesn't mean that you can't go to a bank and redeem it, providing that bank has the facilities and the trained staff to do that. Yes, you can go and redeem at those banks, but it does not mean that they are a redemption center per se. Does that make sense, Carla?
Yeah, it does. So then that brings me to the second half of my question. If we're not going to go to these quote unquote redemption centers and just to a bank, then if we don't go to a bank to redeem, the lady the other night had said that we don't need to go to. I mean, she made it sound like we didn't have to go anywhere to redeem because the quantum computers would know what we have. So how are the computers going to know what we have if we've been gifted our currency or
Okay.
see what I'm getting, where I'm going with this?
I do. Okay, so let's talk about those that have been gifted currencies. And then there's this fear factor that they have to have receipts and they have to have this and they have to have that. If you received a gift, it's like receiving a donation. It's in your heart, isn't it? You go, I will always thank that person for that gift, regardless of whether there's a friendship or whatever hasn't lasted or whatever, but you'll thank that person. That's what we call quantum energy. It's already gifted to you. The fear comes in is because when we say that they already know is because of your quantum consciousness. You have a clear mind that was given to you. You don't have fear about them having to ask you for a receipt and this, that, and all the rest of it. They can already tell by your frequencies and your energies that it was gifted to you. Does that make sense? That part makes sense? And I'll get to the other part in a second. Does that make sense, Carla?
Well, kind of. I mean, I get the quantum energy part. I understand. What I don't understand is the quantum computer end of it. How is the computer going to know what, even if somebody sent you currency through the mail, do they watch the US mail? How do they know if somebody put currency in an envelope and sent it to you? How do they know that?
They already know that, darling. They know that. It's a marker. That's why they stamp it. That's why there's things called stamps. They go through and register it. On the notes, there's a lot of the notes hold certain types of things in there that they can track them, so they know that you have them. They can scan back past your house and they know how much currency. That's why they pick up these drug lords, because they can tell by the different types of energies that there's like $5 million worth of cash in there. They must be connected to drug dealers. So there's all of that comes into play, Carla. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly side of all of this. But the reason we say that you don't have to go to a redemption center is if that you're going to be gifted money from this greatest transfer of wealth, Carla, that is going to come from nowhere. It doesn't have to come from currencies. And that's why we're saying that because everything is now digital and based upon what I've just told you, based upon the actual, I call it the railway, they're running alongside of each other. They already know. It's like I said, if you think that you went and brought your silver with cash and they don't know that you brought silver with cash, you're joking and kidding yourself. They know. Again, the silver, as long as people know this too, it's not about control. They actually do have marks on the silver bars now. They never used to, but they do now. And they can tell that you hold X amount of bars.
Is this an old one?
With all of these satellites and that are going up,
you guys,
and the free energy. And you've got to remember this, Carla. There's free energy based upon the silver gives off energy. Your gold gives off energy. Your currency has energy in it as well. That's why they're all going to a polymer note. The signature that Trump put on his $100 bill, that is a marker. That is a mark, a benchmark, a watermark. All of those kind of marks. And this is what I say to people. If you looked at Big Brother situation quite differently and you want to know how they know, because they just know. They know everything. They know everything. They know all about your consciousness. That's why they cut 26 minutes of my conversation the other day in my humanitarian group, because they already know what I'm thinking and what I'm about to say, so they cut it off. I could be in a phone call the other day with a very private high net worth investor and we got cut off 6 times because they just know. It's the quantum energy and frequencies. It's everything else that is attached to your gold, your silver, your currencies. They just know. They know exactly how much you have. I used the story just recently, Carla, that I turned around and I said, I kept asking the universe, why did I have to sell all my currencies all the time? God, what are you doing to me? This was my saving grace, and I've always got to sell my currencies. I don't hold currencies anymore. I've left currencies at people's places. I don't need it anymore. Do I need currency now? Yes. But for the actual physical currencies, they already know. They hear you talking on the phone. They hear conversations. They already
Pretty sure
know.
this is a new one.
When it comes to quantum energy, that's what they're going to pick up on. It's like going into a prison. If you were to go into a prison and then focus on the energies and frequencies, so let's go to a lie detector, for instance. You can have a criminal, Carla, look you in the eye and you can believe him till the cows come home the next day. But on the inside, his blood pressure's going up and down, or certain elements on the inside are altering the fact that he is actually lying to you, but what you see is actually the truth. That's quantum energy. Although it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's the same thing. So when we say to people, you don't actually have to physically go, what's going to happen is that we believe now, after all the chaos that we've brought to our attention, that the greatest transfer of wealth is going to be that abundant. Are we even going to have to worry about currencies, Carla, or taking them to the bank to redeem? We don't know that. That's why we actually hold them. But what I'm saying is this greatest transfer of wealth that we're about to expect to see in the coming days, we're going to see what happens and comes out of China this evening, is that going to be enough that we don't have to worry about any other abundance? We will wait and see. But believe you me, Carla, there is many different forms that they know. They just know. And when you look at this on a bigger scale, it's like if you'd be kidding yourself if you tried to be secretive. Oh, I buried it underneath the lemon tree down the back of my grandfather's farm at X amount of degrees Celsius. What, you think they didn't see you burying it? That's what I'm saying, hun. You can do as much as you think you can do to be sovereign. You can go and pay cash for everything. But at the end of the day, they already know. And if you think of it on that big scale, sweetheart, of course they know. They know exactly how much or what your intentions are. As I said, that's why I use the whole lie detector thing. These frequency machines are real. They have them in place even in businesses right now, not for us, not just for us in the redeeming side, but they also have them in China where they can read people's frequencies. And this is why they do what they do in China and other places in Asian countries where they say, okay, now we're having a time of rest because people can only function for 4 hours because their frequencies drop. So that's why they use that as well. So it's used for the good, not for the evil. So that's what you have to focus on, Carla. So I hope that helps. It's a bit of a long-winded conversation, but it needed to be said. So as I said, although we physically hold them, yes, we still take them to those places where we can redeem them and exchange them. Yes, but don't be fooled when you see this abundance just appear in your quantum account, which has already been mirrored in this transition. You may go, oh, I'll keep these as souvenirs. Who knows what's going to happen? But they already know.
Hey, 25 minutes.
Is that kind
25 minutes.
Yep, I appreciate that. I mean, it kind of brings up one more quick little point that we've always heard, that the currency, like let's just take the dinar for example. You know, you go in and you exchange dinar. Well, Iraq wants those bills back in their country. They want them off the street. So that's why we didn't understand why we were being told that we didn't have to actually take it anywhere, because if we don't take it somewhere, how are they going to get it back?
Okay, So when they get it back, and that's a very good question, Carla. That is a very good question. So what happens there is what happens when new currency comes out. It basically overrides that currency anyway. And as I said, once the formalities of the new currencies are released, then yes, they do have to, they technically, they used to want to grab them all in, they'll bail them up, they'll send them back to Iraq. And over a period of time, what does Iraq do? They burn them, they shred them, they get rid of them. We saw it in Zimbabwe, we saw it in Argentina, we've seen it in Brazil, we've seen it in Lebanon, we've seen it in many countries where their currencies are worth nothing. So their citizens do the work for the government and they just burn them. So that's what I'm saying, with all the elements that are going to be put into place with the new currencies, they may not have to do it, because again, it's a logistical nightmare, because they had a lot of currencies in storage, including the Iranian rial. I know that they released a whole heap of them just recently because they found them in their archives and decided to release them. I mean, you've only got to look at Venezuela's. I mean, they've got 6 or 7 different darn currencies. Try and collect all of those currencies, Carla. Try and collect them. It's a logistic nightmare. As I said, they may be just classed then as collectibles. You can keep them as a collectible as long as you can show them that you have them, you scan them, whatever, to take photographs of them. With the amount of AI that we have nowadays, Carla, they may not have to. It's one of those mindsets that we believe that they all had to collect all of those currencies, and they may not have to be honest, because again, it's a logistical nightmare, especially with the amount of currency holders that we have now, and plus what's been hidden under mattresses in the actual countries themselves. That's a different kettle of fish. Those citizens will need to go and get cash those in to get the new dinar, as well as the Vietnamese dong and that as well. So again, Carla, there is an answer, but I just don't know the specific answer. But yes, you are right. Logistically speaking, they used to have to collect them, but nowadays it's a logistic bloody nightmare. And with AI and the digital, they could certainly say you don't have to. You can do whatever you like with those currencies because they're now null and void. They just put a mark against the mark. This is why I talked about benchmark and watermarks, Carla, and they will just wipe those off. So the AI will pick up all the codes and that are on those currencies, and you can do with what you like. You won't be able to redeem them again because that would be fraudulent, and they would know that. Again, with AI that we have nowadays, there's no way of trying to defraud or trying to give it to somebody else to go and cash in. That will all be done. The technology that I've seen in banks and in the upper banking area and services with AI, there's not a problem about bringing those currencies back. Once you show them, you take a photo, you scan them with your phone nowadays, they'll be disbarred immediately, and you can do whatever you like with them. That's my understanding. So there's many things, Carla. As I said, you don't have to physically go there, hence why I said with the onset of the technology that we have. So I hope that's also helped a lot of people, Carla. So I truly do appreciate those questions today. They were worth answering. So
all right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mel, for all you do.
That's my darling. I hope it makes sense. Yeah.
Most of us come over and listen to you. So I will reach out to you and
sure, darling.
see if the group wants to have you come in and do a one-on-one with us. That would be awesome.
That would be cool. No worries. All right, then, the beautiful Carla. Thank you, darling. We're going to go back down to, that's okay, sweetie. Now, where are we? I did lose track of who was in here now. TCM.
Hi, Mel. Terry from New Jersey. How are you?
That's right. I'm excellent. My New Jersey family's growing very quickly.
Well, listen, you are just absolutely brilliant. You've given us so much information. I really can't even tell you how many people this helps, everything that you say. Now, you were speaking, I think it was two calls ago on the bonds. and you were speaking about a website that you were going to post up. Did I miss that?
Yeah, I did post one, but just go in and have Google your bond exchange platform in your country or in your state. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did post one just to show. I think I posted the Australian one actually.
Okay.
So,
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not a very tech savvy type person, but I
Yep.
do have friends that use Grok all the time.
Yes.
Is that a reputable site to use?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and I like the boy Leo. The Leo is a nice young lad in Groke. So ask Leo in Groke about your bond exchange platform, and he will
Wonderful.
answer you. He will answer you well. So he will
Wonderful.
serve you well. Okay.
And one other question
guys.
has to do with purchasing of XRP and
I'm not sure what time's
XLM.
on there.
Yep.
How would we go about that?
Well, you can come and join me over there on Revolut. I think the link has changed today, so I'll put my link up there. Go and have a look. It's very, very easy. You can even purchase $2 worth of gold in Revolut as
Okay,
well.
wonderful.
See how much time left.
I know, it's exciting. It's a very, very great platform. One of my newest favorites. The other one that I have recently
Actually, there's 12
played
minutes.
with and working on is, again, it's not an endorsement, but I will put this one up. It's called Trust Wallet. So after the show, and it's very, very easy. And I find it to be the quickest, the fastest, and it's even cheaper than Kraken. So Trust Wallet. So I'll put those links up after the show for Trust Wallet and Revolut. And just as a support mechanism, you can press on the invite link. And if you do progress with it, I think I get a couple of bucks out of it. But it's not an endorsement. I don't get endorsements from them, but they do have these invite friends, so to speak. And you're more than welcome to have a look at it, into it.
Thank you so much, Al. I really
Trust Wallet.
appreciate you. You're
Absolutely.
such a wonderful lady.
Oh, thank you, honey. You too. So TBJ02, how are you? TBJ.
I'm doing great. Can you hear
What's
me?
your question? Yes, I can, sir. How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you for taking this question. Will President Trump's meetings with President Xi Jinping in China this week serve as an important function in commencing a public start of the revaluation of currencies? And if yes, how will that happen?
Okay, well, it's always been one of those things, TJB, that we look at these things and we wait for some big announcement, but I don't think it's going to be an announcement. I think purely from his actions that he's going to perform. He does have some closed door meetings. Pam, just hold on 2 seconds, honey. I'll put you on, just put yourself on mute for a minute and I'll get to your you can be the final one, Pammy. Thank you. So I think what will happen, TBJ, is that we're going to see some activity. So he has closed door meetings. We're seeing all of those conglomerates go over there with him as well. You would have to rest assured if you were to look at those, such as Amazon, Google, Meta, and all of those, they all have their own payment systems and their own banks. Very, very interesting. No one's talked about that. But is this, so when I looked at who was actually going over with him, I mean, is Elon Musk going instead of JD Vance? Because why is Vance not over there with him? I didn't see his name on the list. But Elon's over there, but we look at him as Tesla. Is he representing Tesla or is he representing XPay? All these payment systems and payment plans. I think you're right, but we need to also look outside the square, TBJ, because no one's talking about the fact that all of those companies that are going along for the ride, so to speak, do all have their banking licenses and the payment systems that they are backing behind all of that. That, to me, as I said, I don't think it's going to be an official announcement. I think generally, normally about 2 or 3 days after the actual event, we all sit back and we digest it. You do have the Clarity Act as well on the 14th. So you've got to consider all of those things. I don't think it's going to be some announcement that we're back on the gold standard, because he's never announced anything. It's always been this falutin' script, so to speak, and then we have to try and figure it all out. But based on the fundamentals, having the people that he has taken over there, plus the closed door meetings that we're not privy to, how do we know? We will know within about 72 hours of this, unless some kind of announcement is made. They might give us the shock and awe, and then we all go into shock. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be an announcement, mate. I think it's going to be for the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And I think about probably 72 hours after this trip, we're going to have a full indicator of what is going to transpire out of all of that. So I hope that helped, TBJ. Does that answer the question, or do you want me to elaborate a bit more?
Oh, that was a very good point about the payment systems. I had not heard that before. So thank you.
That's okay, but they certainly are. So we're going to go to Pam before we go to Archer. Pam Mimi, how are you, darling?
I'm great. I'm so happy to talk to you, Mel. This is so exciting.
Okay. I know, it's always a good when you're person.
My questions are pretty simple, I think. And my bank is not a tier 1 bank. I've been on Social Security for several years, and my Social Security checks are automatically put into that bank. I asked Grok, and according to Grok, it is Basel III compliant. But is it the fact that it's not a tier 1 bank, is that going to cause me any problems, do you think?
Definitely not. If it hasn't caused you any problems yet, Pam, there's no problems at all. As long as they're based. That's why I said to the gentleman from Canada just before, go to Ripple, do the Ripple first and then do the Basel III, because a lot of those smaller banks are covered. They have a covenants by the tier 1 banks.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
Sounds
good.
So that's why I say just because they're not tier 1, as long as they're Basel III compliant, they have complied to their banking license, they will be covered under a covenants. Okay.
Okay, so and we can count on the Basel III being correct because Grok said that the whole RV thing is a scam, which is what I'm used to hearing from anybody in the business there. So if that's okay, right?
But again, this is why we're having these big tough conversations, Pam, because it's become a scam in the sense that so many people have recreated what is already happening. So I did say, Pam, would have been about 6 or 8 weeks ago, I made a statement. Someone asked a specific question, and I said, she's basically asking, has revaluation of currencies commenced? And I said, yes, it has already commenced. When we talk about the RV, this is where it becomes a scam because people are value adding all the time. I'm the toughest cookie around, Pam, when it comes to, I'm not calling them out. I only know what they know. They only know what they know. But the logic of it is that it comes across as a scam, and that's why brokers doing that and calling it a scam. The revaluation of currencies always happen. We're revaluating currencies all the time, but they're called reinstatements and evaluations, not revaluations. That's the difference as well. So yeah, there's a couple of things.
Well, that makes me feel much better, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for all you do for us.
No worries at all. My pleasure, sweetheart. We're going to go to Archer 1111 because, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, because I spend, and we will catch, actually, Archer, can I just wait? I have a guest in here that Paul Peru.
Absolutely.
We'll wait for him. Paul, you're a newbie as well, so we'll catch up with Paul. What's your question, darling?
Oh, do you want me to ask my question, or
Oh,
do you
no,
want
no,
to put me
yours,
off?
Paul.
Fine,
Paul
either way.
first, and then we'll finish with Archer.
Okay.
Paul, what's your question, darling? You're a Kiwi. That's why I'm bringing you up. What's the Kiwi question? There has to be a Kiwi behind this one. No. Paul. Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah. I just want to just curious. What's the deal with the women curler volleyball?
With the yeah. Just hold it until you get told, darling.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Just hold on to it, and we'll see what we can roll with that. We will roll with that. Yeah. Just hold on to it, darling. Just hold. Yep. And when the instructions come out, Paul, you and I will chat again.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Paul. No worries. Archer, let's finish off this show because I really want to go and have a look at what's going on over in the beautiful country of China. So, Archer, what have we got? Yes,
I'll be
absolutely.
quick, I hope. Good to see you. My question is, I'm struggling with my project, trying to figure out how to properly monetize it, because we're supposed to create projects with longevity, right? So they can support themselves. Would I need a consultant, or with somebody to help me with a business plan on that? Would it be a consultant or maybe a family office, or I wasn't sure which direction to go with that.
Well, interesting you should say that, darling. Interesting you should say that. I've actually said yesterday in the Humanitarian 2 group that I'm actually going to do a show, a very special show, hopefully next week, on all of that, and to give you some links to go and have a look at and to help you. So there you go. So that's
perfect.
A very
short and sweet.
Short and sweet one to do, love. But ladies and gentlemen,
I did send you a DM about another subject you probably need to know about, but anyway.
Too easy.
Thank you.
Excellent. My absolute pleasure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have to miss out on a few questions. I see JR in the room. VP, we will definitely catch up very, very soon. But ladies and gentlemen, right now.
Well, we did it. We got it in there. Oh. So tomorrow we'll be doing 2 shows. It's just today I had shopping all done today. Everything. So we'll get back to 2 videos tomorrow. 2 shows tomorrow. And tomorrow's the 14th. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. So stay tuned for any breaking news. See how things go. Thanks everybody coming in, and thanks with the new people coming in chat. And it's been a long 6 years here doing this, but I was the chosen one. Thanks, mods. Carol, K, Tim, Lucy, Fine Eagle, Carol. I think I got everybody. And I bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like and never give up. Stay cool. Tired. All right, signing off. Chico do for Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. And we'll see you all tomorrow afternoon. Have a good one, you guys.